Hello and welcome, everyone. I was staring at my screen. I should be staring at you. Ed DeRosa Sara Elbadwi, Sam Houston, about to jump its first race, and it's a stakes race, Sarah.
Exciting. It's our first stakes race to start off the card with, and we have two of them for this Thursday night. So
Stakes
exciting
double.
card. There we go.
What's your favorite cut of steak?
Oh, probably a ribeye.
Me too.
Wow.
Bone in?
Depends. We'll have to go out for steak sometime.
There's a steakhouse it's Morton's, definitely not one of our finer ones in Louisville, but we do have a Jeff Ruby's, and Matt Wynn Steakhouse at Churchill is one of the best I ever had.
All right. We'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. What was the top steak in Worcester?
I'm biased. I worked at a Texas Roadhouse, so that was kind of my steak intake for a little while, and I wasn't really getting out to see the rest of the options in that town, but I don't really know that it's known for its steak in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Right.
Anyway, talk some horses.
These steaks, 1 to 5, so I was like leading up to it. Certainly Pinky, what is it? Pinky Ring Blinder? Bling. Pinky Ring Bling. Obviously the horse to beat. I would actually have bet this horse at 3 to 5. I knew we'd never get it. I'm just going to watch. Tough to make a case for anyone else, I think.
I agree. Out of the horses that have run in this 5-horse field, he's the only one to have even hit the board, let alone have won a race. He's been facing arguably better competition. He finished third at pretty huge odds twice in a row after breaking his maiden, and just seems like he's the most logical one in this field. So something I would be willing to single going forward in this early pick 3.
Early pick 3. It is $1 minimum, 12% takeout. So maybe some opportunity. And for you, that opportunity could be in leg 2 because you're on who I imagine is going to be the third choice in Amazonian Queen.
If not the 4th. I think that a lot of people are going to look at the number 4 in there for Steve. And I think that she's coming in off that maiden win where, what did she go off at that day? 10 to 1?
At least.
Yeah,
14 maybe.
Maybe. I think it was 13. Around there.
More than $20 to win.
Absolutely. But I think she has a bit of a tactical advantage from a pace standpoint in that race. Since it seems like there's a lot of speed signed on, she might be the only one coming from behind to close and make up some ground in that race. And then any thoughts on the third leg of this early pick 3?
Yeah. I do like the favorite in the third leg. I did pick, and I will put up my grid for those somewhat interested or otherwise, but I'm pretty thin in the A column, which is rare for me. Usually I'm spread out in at least a few races. I do really like number 9 in race 3. So will everyone else. It is the favorite, but stands out completely on speed figures. I didn't have any knocks. I did think number 2, who I have as a lone B, was interesting as a first-time starter. The Dam did have a debut winner under her, and the progeny of, or the female family of the two, all have run races fast enough that contend with the 9. So for me at 20 to 1, if anyone's going to beat the 9, I think it could be the first-time starter of the 2. But I do think that one is going to be tough to beat. They are in the gate here for the opener. We're both on the big chalk. I think the pick 4 more what we're targeting today.
I agree. I think that there's plenty more value in there. I think this is kind of a race that we're both planning on just sitting out and watching the 3 win. So,
and if it doesn't, then it's kind of save money that we didn't single at 1 to 5. You got to be willing to sit on your hands at times as they're going into the gate. Want to encourage you to like this video, subscribe as well to the Horse Racing Nation YouTube channel. We appreciate that you're here. And up next, a much deeper dive into the next 4 races. That'll be the early pick 4, but they are in the gate for the opener. I'll wait till they spring the latch before I actually turn it off, so we're not the ones over everyone. There we go. So don't want to show the race live, but if you're watching, availing yourself to any number of options to watch live, you will see that actually a little bit of a scrum up front.
Are you surprised? You seem surprised.
I mean, I just thought the odds-on favorite was so much the best that they would just take the race to them. But
I mean, they got to make a little
certainly
bit of
looks relaxed
to make a race out of it. And then this horse did come from a little bit behind in his last 2 starts to end up being third in both of them. So I don't think he's the type that absolutely needs the lead, but the 5's giving him a little bit of a challenge here.
Yeah, this is a tussle, 23-1. Let's then you see me turning to my right because I do have the chat up. Bad Billy, good afternoon. Len Dodson is singling the 3, but he's using your 2 in a cold double. And Patrick Christie's approach was short field, long price, which I do like that cliche when it comes to racing, but did not work out here as expected. The odds-on favorite just proved too much for the rest of these.
I will say the 5 did take a crack at him. That was pretty frightening, I guess, for us chalk players for maybe the first half of the race, and then it just proved to be much the best by the end. So.
Right. Well, one of those, I think. I mean, if
you got to take your chances.
Depending on how much you were into the favorite at 1-9, 1-5, you never. I wouldn't have liked seeing that develop early.
No, I didn't love seeing them bump a little bit either on the stretch and put up a little bit of a fight, but ended up winning easily. So we picked a winner, and so did everybody else.
I believe this is the first time either one of us have had a winner in the early double, though.
Well, I did last week.
But we weren't on. That's right.
For all the YouTube folks, so. Did it happen? Who knows? It's kind of like, does the tree make a sound when it falls and no one hears it? It'll have to be.
I say
us.
Yes.
I think so too.
Yeah.
It happened. I did it.
Well,
but now we really did it.
What I like to say is you can't sweep the card if you don't have the 1-5 winner of the first.
Is that a new saying of yours?
No, I actually took it from Joe Christofek.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
At least you gave him some credit.
And he wishes he never said it because I've buried it into the ground, because now I say it all the time. And he's like, no, dude, you have to actually pick a few winners before you can get excited. So,
well, hopefully we have a more exciting one in the next race, because I definitely do not think this horse will be the favorite in the number 2 Amazonian Queen.
2-5. Again, my line was 3-5 just from I don't really like to bet to win lower than that period, but
did go up at the morning line.
I mean,
that the 2-5. So.
If you were really a believer, that actually wasn't a terrible price. I'm interested to see what this exacta comes back. To me, those were the 2.
I think so.
But I will say, based on how it unfolded early, let's say the 3 put away the 5. I guess you could have made a case for maybe someone picking up the pieces for second. That didn't happen, though.
I think that if there was a horse that was poised to do that, it would have been a move that would have made sense. I just didn't think anyone in here was capable of it. And
no, you're right.
Turns out to be the case. I think our Horse Racing Nation Power Picks did have another cold super, though.
Oh, cold super. Was there even super wagering?
But we had it.
Hey, cold exacta, cold try. We'll take it. Right. Patrick Christie said he calls those hot dog races because you go get a hot dog.
In the middle of the race because you're so confident?
I don't like to eat first thing when I get at the track, though. So I don't like the hot dog races to be in the opener. I'll grab a cold one.
Fair enough. Well, usually when I get there, I'm already running late, so I'm rushing to see what's going on.
Well, we were on time for this, unlike last week. Well, that was more technical issue.
That wasn't our fault.
Yeah.
It was no one's fault.
So again, please subscribe if you haven't already. We're doing this every week, Thursdays at Sam Houston. We'll shift to Wednesdays when their calendar does. We're going to have some company on the Thursday calendar for a couple weeks. Turfway added that back. We had that story up on Horse Racing Nation. And didn't mean to cover that side. There we go. We do have a free ebook as well, Sarah, before we get to the second. A lot of good information at Horse Racing Nation, including that free ebook, and had some good trainer and shipper stats this week, I thought.
Absolutely. I think there was a lot more valuable information in there. And do you know off the top of your head how that 10-1 long shot price
still
holding up?
Positive, yeah.
Wow. And that's a trend that's interesting.
So I thought so too, which I must, because I've written about it every chance I've gotten. What Sarah's talking about is if you have bet every 10-1 horse or higher at the meet at Sam Houston, you'd actually be ahead. That's every horse, 10-1 or higher. So multiple horses in a race, betting them all.
Doesn't even matter.
What I thought was interesting is no horse, and I think there were several, 15-20, 35-1 or higher, have not been close to winning.
Okay.
So if you eliminated the longest of the shots, you'd even be higher ahead. I kind of feel that's dangerous, though, because
what happens when you get that one?
Are you really drawing the line at 36 versus 34? I wouldn't, but I could make a case for maybe a 50-1, like, okay, that's the line. But I would just say 10-1 or higher.
There was that horse that won at 34-1.
Right. Well, that's why exactly I conveniently drew the line at 35.
Yeah.
But long shots are coming in there. The favorite percentage is higher versus last year. which as a multi-race player, especially with that 12% takeout, I think is great because if you find the right horse to lean on and find the right race to spread, that's where the big payouts come.
Absolutely. And I think that first race was a perfect example of a favorite that you can definitely rely on. And I just see now that the 2 is opening up at the 9-5 favorite in this field. So I think a lot of people
talk your price down.
I guess so. A lot of people are interested in Amazonian Queen.
And why not? I was going to
first timer for Braidster to win, right?
That's right. First ever. So they're
high hopes for
trying to pull up the double will pays, because with that big of a favorite winning, this is going to be a pretty efficient market.
Absolutely.
So let's see what that tells us. Only early win money, because on the doubles, the 4 is 440.
Okay.
Which is 6-5 with a 2-5, and then the 5 is 9. Much higher, and then the 2 is all the way up to $26. So you're going to get the price you want, I think.
I hope so.
Yeah. So what is that? 2-5 paid, what, $280? Right?
I would say so. Let me double check. Yep, you're right.
And then 26.20 in the double. I mean, this horse might be 8-1.
I don't think she's going to go up the way to 8-1 with this 9-5 right now.
Right. That just tells you though how great the 12% takeout is, because to get a double with a 2-5, $26, and I agree with you. I mean, I can't imagine more than 5.
Right. That's pretty impressive.
All right. Well, I think
place to play.
we have a clip that might show why you like Amazonian Queen so much.
I do have that in there. Are you able to find it?
Oh yeah. Didn't my buddy Mike pick this horse too?
Yep. I didn't have this horse as my top pick. She was my second choice that day, to be fair to myself and others. But yeah, I think this horse has a very tactical edge in here. Pull that up.
Let's see if we make that a little bigger.
Perfect.
A little better. All right,
so
ready?
She's the 8 in here. And you can see that another horse that's in this field, Texas Thunder, is the one that's currently on the lead. Expect the Boss, who I believe was favored in there, is going to be out in closing. And then she's farthest out, number 8, closing in, and just gets up in time, ends up winning the race at, I think it was 13-1 that day. So it's helpful that she's already beat one of the horses that's going to be in this field, who might just end up being the speed of the speed. But I think there is plenty of speed signed on in here. So I gave her the nod. I like her a lot in here.
Yeah, and once just watching that back quickly, I do like persevering through the wire. I mean, the rider wrapped up. He knew he had the race won, but still seemed to be striding out. Still seemed to know what the gig was. So
right,
for a first-time starter, seemed pretty professional, especially at the price. You would have thought maybe a little green. One other thing is I'm gonna play this one more time before I pull it up. But again, from this clip, she's 3-4 wide, stalking trip, making a nice move on the outside, but that's not necessarily the profile of what wins at Sam Houston. So on debut at that price, to get the job done like that, I think kind of adds to the allure as well.
I would say so. I think that it might be something worth looking into to see how many horses are actually doing that kind of like wide swoop the group move, because I feel like it's something.
Swoop the group.
I feel like it's something we've been seeing a little bit more lately. I don't know if that's kind of the profile in the past for Sam Houston. You're saying it's not, since I'm not as familiar with this track, but it seems like a trend that I've seen at least enough to make note of it.
Yeah, and I would say she was probably in a position where more a stalker than a closer. I mean, She was never far back, and those are turf sprints, so that's not going to help anyway. Here we go. That's not it either. I thought I pulled up the TTT for stand by for a moment. We do have a clip of the post positions here.
We have all kinds of fun graphics. Can't even keep track of which one is which.
I know. All right, there we go. Finally. So what this is here is, we've mentioned this before, TTT, tic-tac-toe, grid style. Certainly love the grid. But we're looking at dirt sprints at the Sam Houston meet here in 2022. And most notably, the gate to wire winners, half the winners sprinting on dirt. Gate to wire. So very good to be on the lead. Only 8% closers. Yes, this horse I would say was more mid-pack. Stalkers do fine, 41%. But if you look at the outside posts, not nearly as well as the inside horses. Part of that is field size. We've only had we've had an average of 7.42, as you see there at the bottom. But clearly, inside speed. This horse came from mid-pack. Any further back probably would have been considered a closer. Post 8, still got the job done at a generous price. A lot of definite positive signs in my mind, which should be a good price here.
I think so. Do you have another top pick here? I know you're talking a little bit about It's a G thing earlier on this week. Is that going to be your top pick?
Yeah, I think pull this up. I went with the 5 on top. I don't have the names.
Kim's Texas Bling.
When did we talk about It's a G thing?
The other day.
But why?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, not my top pick here. I like the name. I had a hard time deciding between 2, 4, and 5, and at these prices, I'm glad I didn't go with the 2 because 5 to 2, a little light. Would be thrilled to be live to that double though. But ultimately, very happy to see where the double will pays out because I do think the 5 is going to be twice the price of the 4. And when I looked at just what I thought the pace scenario could be in here, I definitely think there's a tactical advantage with the small field. I'm hoping goes right to the front, less of a tussle than we saw in the opener. I think a big gate to wire threat.
For the 5?
Mm-hmm.
You don't think the 3 will be in front of the 5?
I think it's sort of what you said about the first race is there's such a separation between the talent.
As far as quality, I agree with that. I think they're going to gun the 3 to go to the lead.
I mean, that's the only chance the 3 has. So I don't disagree with maybe that's the tactics. I don't even know if she can make the lead though. Right. Yeah. But
she took a big jump down in price just now.
The 3?
Mm-hmm.
Every time you mention a horse, someone they're betting.
Influencing the board is a whole new level of influencer ability. So
the chat is quite active, and next week we're going to get on this. We're going to incorporate the chat into the stream because we definitely want to make this as interactive as possible. And I hate that when I look at the chat, like it's just pure dome.
It's
for me.
Side profile.
Yeah, it's not what I want the peeps to see. So need to figure out some sort of like minority report monitor.
The chat through here, we can make that happen.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, there's no reason you can't be the chat jockey.
The chat jockey. I didn't know that was in my job description, but I love it.
So pick 4 starts here. I do think based on the money the 4 is taking, the money the 4 took in the double, we can be pretty confident going to be the favorite in the win pool here, as well as probably in the pick 4s. I'm against. And as much as I love the favorite in the next race, and there was a big scratch in race 4, which is the third leg of the pick 4. I think the horse I'm on in there is probably going to be maybe even an underlay, and I'm going to have to decide what I want to do. So for me, using the 2-5 here and beating the 4, I think is kind of the first step toward trying to make something happen with what looks like a pretty logical sequence.
I agree. I wouldn't use the 4 in any of my multis just to try to create a little bit more value. And I also like the favorite in the next race like you do. 4 can win, obviously. She was doing well against Texas Accredited, Texas bred company in the past as a 2-year-old. Then they tried to step her up a little bit in the Schuylerville. Wasn't quite at that level. So some excuses there. I prefer others when she's going to be such a short price. So...
As do I. Yeah, it's gambling as much as we'd like to convince ourselves we're investing or we know more than others. We have to acknowledge, I mean, even if you had zero respect for the 4 horse in here,
you have to respect
like 3 to 1 would be, I'd say you're crazy if that were your fair odds. But even if they were, that's still 25% of the time you think she's going to win. So yeah, you're gambling against the logical. I am too. 2-5 for me to start things off. Actually, the way I tiered it was I singled the 5 and then also have some 2-5 action here or there.
For your ABs?
ABs, yeah. And I think we'll revisit the grid just so I'm not talking out of school. I actually have the 4 as a B, which when I know they're logical, I do. And Nick Tamaro does a great job. So morning line wise, I should probably learn to trust him a little more. Mm-hmm. I hate getting burned though, when it's like, oh, that's the morning line favorite. I'm totally against. And I've left off the grid completely. And then you get to the race and they're 5 to 1 third choice. And you're like, well, I'd use that horse there. So I have started for those, and Steve Gilfeather, thank you for the nice comment. I have started on my grid, like even when I know a horse is certainly capable of winning some share more than the long shots, I want to include on the grid just so it's kind of on my radar. Because when you're making tickets and punching numbers, you may not realize. But in this case, okay, the 4's a B. Never ever play a B horse odds on or as the favorite. I mean, if you like others enough that you made him an A, don't play him as a favorite in the B. So upgrading the 2 to the B column, and that's how I'm playing the pick 4.
Interesting. There's no situation where you would go back on those rules, whereas like that is always like a steadfast like rule in your gambling. Like if you have a B horse and it is an odds-on horse, you are never playing that horse.
No, I wouldn't say never, but it would take having an A column in 2 other races that was trying to beat an odds on or something like that.
Okay.
So, like Breeders' Cup Day, and I forget the races around it, but Love Dunbar Road. Well,
you did love Dunbar Road.
I'm not getting beat by Jackie's Warrior if Dunbar Road wins. Jackie's Warrior ended up losing, but and I don't even know if they were in the same sequence, but yeah, that's the idea. It's okay, you have a 12-1 single in a race where everyone's on Latruska, and the alternatives are She Dares the Devil and whoever the other Malatot. Well, if Dunbar Road wins, Jackie's Warrior is not going to beat me.
I see what you're saying.
That would be an exception.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I feel like there's never really
no Dunbar Roads in this stakes for fillies,
not
though.
Quite. I was going to say I don't feel like there's ever really a steadfast 100% of the time rule in any of this, and I think that's also one of the great things about it.
Yeah, no, and my grid basically came from the whole like Steve Christ ABC method. Did that book ever come, by the way?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, because the other one came first.
Yeah, I have 2 books. I have a poker book, and then I have the Thoroughgraph book.
Oh no, Rag is in.
Yes.
That's right. We'll have to borrow Steve Christ too. And it's well written, and I love the idea of the grid. I use it all the time. Mm-hmm. But the whole like template where you use 4 A's and a B and a C, or like where it's so compartmentalized and that's just the way to play it, I don't like that. Like I just feel like
you have to do whatever works for you.
Yeah, and each day is different and the odds are changing. So but Nick's on the 5.
He is. Nick has very politely and wonderfully agreed to give us some ideas of his next week for the big stakes weekend coming up.
That's right. So. Big stakes weekend. We'll,
that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, I wanted to look at their pick 4 tickets, though.
Oh.
And I do not know whose ticket that is, but.
I don't either. It doesn't say, just the early pick 4 from Sam Houston.
From
It's a pretty solid
interesting.
Ticket, except that
I don't love that they have the 4 and the 9 and then doubled up on seemingly.
Yeah. Okay. What I was going to say is I was going to say that I disagree with race 4, but I have one of those horses on my ticket, and then I have both the 5 and the 6 for race 5, but I don't have the 4 in there.
I don't have the 7 in race 4.
Well, you really like the 1.
I do, but my B's are 2, 3, 8, so I'm still even where I'm deeper.
Pixie. What a great name.
That is a good name.
That was a big scratch in there of the 5, Miss MJ, who was going to be the favorite in that race. So.
Yeah, I was very excited to play against. So.
I was going to single that one.
Really? Mm-hmm. Wow. What are you seeing here in the paddock? Everyone seems well behaved for youngins.
Hanging out in there.
Yeah.
There's never really too much to see when they're just hanging out in their stalls like that, unless one of them's really throwing a major fit or something.
So. It can only be bad at this stage?
It would only be worth noting to me if they're misbehaving an exorbitant amount in there.
Right.
Since they're not really doing too much yet. You're not really seeing how they're moving or how they're behaving to go out on the track because they're just hanging out.
Hanging out. All right, compact field. They got through that pretty quick. All right, well, we'll wait for them to get back on the track to get any visual clues you might be able to discern. And while we do, as you noted, Nick Tamaro going to join us next week, talk some Thursday racing, as well as preview. I do believe by then they will have drawn Sunday's card. I'll be there. Very much looking forward to seeing who ends up in the graded stakes. I'm guessing there's going to be at least an all stakes pick 5, if not pick 6. Sunday afternoon racing in Houston. I'm pretty excited.
I am excited for you. I'm going to have to live vicariously. You're going to have to tell me all about it and take some pictures and videos.
Oh, yeah. Andy's taking me to ramen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Texas ramen.
Texas ramen.
have to let me know what
I
that's
think
like.
Houston's a multicultural enough city that you can
find some good ramen.
Yeah.
I don't doubt it.
Find some good races though.
Oh, 100%. That's a lot.
Yeah. So 75,000 stakes, kick things off, and then 6-figure races up to the $400,000 Houston Ladies Classic. If you wanted to nominate, you're out of luck. Those closed yesterday, but
It's too late.
They do enter. When's the 23rd? Sunday? Sunday. So we'll know the field in plenty of time for next Thursday's show. And again, Nick Tamaro going to join. Well, he'll join you, and then we'll pipe that in. And then he'll join us. Yes,
virtually.
Very appreciative of his time, and definitely want to pass along our condolences on the loss of his father. I had lunch with Travis today, and he mentioned some things about what a great man he was and how much he loved racing. So certainly sorry to read that.
Absolutely. And I think that it was such a beautiful thing for him to pay homage in a way to someone that really got him into the races and say, like, who knew however many years later that this is where I'd be sitting. And so I think we kind of can all relate to what that story is like, to have someone really bring us into this game and how special that is and how much that means.
Absolutely.
So, very sorry for his loss.
Yeah. All right, Nick. Well, we're thinking about you, and know you're going to have a great card today. Looking forward to talking to you next week. Pick 4 is, they just came off that. I was going to say, I'm very much looking forward to seeing, I've been to Sam Houston before, and I totally forget what the layout is like because I've been watching this now for 3 weeks, and I have no idea like why they're on cement before they go to the track. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how that's laid out and why that is.
You're going to find out, I'm sure.
I'm going to do, I'm thinking about, I've done the Periscope thing on Twitter, but before we came on, I was watching a live video of someone doing a tour of the Wynn in Vegas. So I'm thinking maybe some TikTok tours at Sam Houston.
Absolutely. We could have that up and rolling by the time that you're there. So
I'm looking forward to, again, I have been there. It's been 19 years though, or 18 and a half. So
wow, that's
looking forward to
my entire life.
That's right.
You did just get a year older.
I did.
It was
birthday
your birthday
yesterday. Nominations closed on my birthday.
Yeah. Could have nominated yourself.
Yeah.
Are you a good runner?
No.
No, not at all.
No, I mean, just
that's Mark, right?
Mark runs, yeah.
Okay.
Mark is a good runner, and my editor at Thoroughbred Times, Tom Law, is a New York City Marathon finisher.
Very impressive.
What's going on well, actually, let's look at what these horses are doing, and then we'll see what's going on in the chat.
So I was watching a little bit while you were taking a look at the upcoming stakes weekend next weekend. It looks as though it's fairly windy there. There was a lot of the grass moving around. You can see, like, in the horses' numbered saddle cloths that they're kind of whipping around in the wind. So especially with younger horses and horses in general, the wind can really set them off. That can be something that kind of like gets them a little bit spookier, a little bit more worked up than just like a regular day. So we'll have to see how they're acting. But so far, everybody seems calm and composed on the track, especially Eagle Express here.
We're in the Farish colors.
Although Kim's Texas Fling is on her toes a little bit there. But
now, what's your stance on tail swishing?
I don't read too much into it. I think that it's more significant when they're actually running in the race and if it's a clear reaction to something. So if the rider is using the crop on a certain side and then they're swishing their tail every single time the crop is used, you can tell that that's because of something. Or if they're being asked repeatedly to switch leads and they're not quite getting over and they're swishing their tail about it, it's kind of like a sign of a disagreement in a way. But if it's just happening and you can't really see a specific reason for it, either you have to look a little bit harder to find out what that is, or maybe it's just them. It could just be what's normal to them. So.
Right. Okay. Well,
I know that
Jockey hates it.
I was going to say.
and is notes it often, or I shouldn't say often like it happens often, but when it happens and he's watching, he's going to note it. So always curious what other people think of how much that matters or not. Well, we mentioned that we have the free ebook, and one of the things in there besides the 10-1 flat bet profit, which is interesting. Did we have any last race, by the way?
For what?
Any 10-1 horses or higher?
I don't think
I doubt it with the
but did.
well, We did. I mean, with the 2 to 5, I was wondering.
We did with the 2, right?
There were 2, 1 and 2.
Okay. Well, they don't count towards that stat being positive. So.
Well, they count toward it being less positive.
Yes. They count.
Yes.
Just not in a positive direction.
But in addition to that gem of information in the ebook, we also had the shipper report, which updated through the 2022 or updated through the first couple weeks of the meeting, and a little bit different than what we looked at from the first. I looked at the leading tracks that ship horses into Sam Houston for the last 5 years, and Remington was overwhelmingly the best bet among previous tracks. And that's not the case this year, as you can tell from the HRN impact, negative 14%. But way more horses from Remington have run at Sam Houston this year versus previous opening 2 weeks. And part of that is Oaklawn's open now, so horses shipping there instead of Sam Houston. I'd say that's probably the biggest contributor. And with the shorter fields in general, these Remington horses have made a bigger percentage as well. So there's more in each race. And from a flat bet perspective, it's just tough to make that up. So overall, not doing terrible even, I would say, with how many there are. But Lone Star was the one that stuck out to me, not just because, they're coming from Lone Star, another Texas track, but that means layoff horses are doing well, because Lone Star hasn't run in several months. So for them to be coming from there and have a flat bet profit, I think is worth monitoring. And we certainly will do that over the next week and see how that plays into the 4th week of racing next week.
Absolutely. And I think there's a significant amount of horses coming in off a layoff, whether it's from Lone Star or from somewhere else. So it's always good to see how those horses are performing. There's a lot of 180 plus days in the past performances.
Right. And which trainers are performing well or not with the layoff horses, since anecdotally, it would seem like the trainer has maybe more of a say of what those horses will do. And I brought it up again so you could tell everyone where this is available.
In our Horse Racing Nation shipper report.
That's right. At the pick store, picks.horseracing.com. And that report, which is one each day, includes not only Sam Houston. You don't have to get it by track. When you get it, you get them all for the day. So Gulfstream, Delta, Aqueduct, let you know where all the winners are coming from. And at Sam Houston, we've already had 13 starters run back at the meet with a 15% success rate. So that's certainly worth paying attention to as they go to the gate. Let's remind everyone our strategy here. Pretty similar in who we're tossing. We're on different picks on top, although I'd have no problem with yours winning. It's 2-5 for me to start the pick 4.
Absolutely. I think those are the main 2 that we agree on. I would maybe take another look at the 1 if she's going to be 8-1, but I think we both think that the 3 is a little bit outclassed here, and the odds are showing that. Yes,
18-1 in a 5-horse field. The last race with the 2-5, we had a couple that were double digits, but we're interested to see who ends up on the lead. As we kind of noted, I agree. Like, if your only chance of winning, if you're not the 2, 4, or 5, is to go to the front. So they're in the gate, and we're against the favorite in the pick 4. Pick 3 also starts here. Good luck, and we'll let you watch on your own devices.
And there's 3 out in front, so that's her one shot to win. She's going to try it. Amazonian Queen's up much closer this time, though, compared to her last race. So I wonder if that's a change in tactics or she's feeling a little bit more keen today.
Will we ever know?
Well, we're going to see how it pans out.
Well, we'll see how it pans out. That is
whether
true.
This was a winning tactic or not remains to be seen.
I don't love the camera work. It's kind of shaking me up a little bit, but
I don't think it's Amazonian Queen's day today.
No, and it seems like they're all kind of working a little hard to chase this horse down.
Well, maybe she's going to steal it.
I think this horse is gone.
I think that you might be right.
The 10-1 was the angle there.
She did kind of flat stop in the last start, but today's the day. Look at her go.
Wow.
Blew this field away at the longest price on the board.
Well, a wise man in the chat said short field, big price.
There we go. I guess that's all you need.
He said that for the first. I don't know if he came back with it here. Let's see.
Look at that.
Patrick Christie, small field, big price.
I mean, speed kills. It always remains to be something that works in horse racing.
Yeah, and I mean, 46-4, and we talked about. I mean, we showed this really shouldn't be a huge surprise. I mean, gate to wire winners 19% from post 3 or 4.
25-1.
25-1. That'll help the 10-1.
Absolutely, and good for you if you picked this horse. I felt that she was going to be the one on the lead. I just didn't think that she was going to be able to hold on to it, but really impressive performance today.
Well, I mean,
like not in a 5-horse field is the lone speed, but we both thought that she was totally outclassed here, and she won pretty convincingly.
No, that I don't know what the excuse will be for the 2. Completely packed it in, maybe too much too soon off the debut. I do not know what Braidster is second time out, but
I mean, short rest, but that's the same excuse for the 3.
That's
they
true.
came out of the same
That's
race,
right.
So I mean, but they're different horses. So.
Different horses. Well, that's it for me. Me and the pick 4. But if you're live,
that's a nice double with 3-3.
Yeah, let's see what that was coming back. I would think it was pretty good because the 2 was $26 for 2. $131.
With a
so
2 to 5
64-1, 2 to 5 and 25-1. And I'll be eager to see what some of these pick 3s are paying. I mean, I guess Eagle Express was 4 to 5. That's not like crazy to me. We both agreed an underlay and we were against, which I guess we got that right. But, I could have maybe said, well, if I use the pinky horse in the first leg, toss the 4, use the rest with the 9 in the third leg, it's $4. I don't know. It just feels like you're still gambling.
Come up with this horse.
Yeah.
Like let's be real.
Well, if you came up with it though, now's the time to red board. I do see a boom in the chat. Charles Blaha is booming. So hopefully he either bets a win or is live in something. Boom is always good, I think.
Yeah.
Steve says the double was tougher than a nickel stake. I mean, really though, you only needed.
Well, there were 5 horses in each field.
Yeah, and was it last Thursday when we were on, or last Friday? But the longest shot on the board won both parts of the early double.
I don't think it was when we were on.
That was Friday. Because you had the winner of the first. You never would have had the longest shot on the board. So.
No.
So it was Friday, but anyway, the longest shot on the board now is won. I don't even know what happened Saturday, but let's say they didn't. But that would be 3 of the last 6 parts of the early double. That's pretty incredible.
Right. Great place for long shots. Low takeout. More things to love about Sam Houston.
Oh, I mean, the 12% to get, I don't care what price this horse was or the fact that we didn't like, a 2 to 5 into a 5-horse field and you get $130 double, that's
huge.
Kramer would say that's kooky talk.
You could have even just had nothing done as far as your handicapping and just done all and you would have made money, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that would have been $20 and the exacta paid 72. Although at that point, I think if you're going to do that, the win, you could have bet the $4 to win and gotten back 116.
Yeah, I mean, I would never promote the all,
no.
but just saying it would have been profitable in this situation.
I do think, getting deep in the weeds here, but I do think there's sort of an index that you could do. Like if you're looking for where the prices are, I have always thought like, okay, well, all that's a $90 in a 10-horse field would cost $90. So how often does the exacta pay more than $90 versus less? And like,
you mean the double?
No, I meant exacta, but yeah, we were talking about the double. Anyway, moving on. 1 opens up as the favorite. Let's see what the will pay say. I have to think the 9 is going to be the choice there. Yes, the 9 is the favorite in the will pays, and the dollar pick 3 to the 9, 236 and some change. So Definitely disappointed in myself that I didn't gamble a little bit against the 4 in leg 2, who I was against, but it's just not really the way I play. I am happy though that what I did not do is I was toying around with like a 3 with 2-5 with 9 for a bunch, and that'd be out. So
it would be out. So you saved
take the
yourself.
good, take the bad. Yeah, I feel like I recognized that maybe there was not enough upside to make that bet and held off. So pleased with that. Well, this is, I have to say, don't want to pride before the fall and all that, but really appreciate everyone tuning in. This is our best numbers to date. So thank you. And if you would be so kind as to smash the like button, be even better.
You know what it is?
The thumbs up button on YouTube, I guess.
Do you know why there's so much viewership today?
Full fields?
No, it's the fancy reel that I made for Instagram.
Oh.
No, it's not.
Brought all the boys to the yard.
I don't know about that, but it was very exciting for me to figure out how to make one. So I'm very proud of myself for that. Are you surprised that number 2, Bessie's song, has gone to 5-1 off a 20-1 morning line? You think everybody's seeing that distant relative of Zenyatta in there?
I thought 20-1 was more like, okay, the firsters maybe don't really fit this type of race typically. There's an obvious favorite and one scratched out, but I thought 20-1 may be a little aggressive, especially, and not that I expect the morning line maker to be doing pedigree research and all that, but
I bet Nick does.
I'm sure. I don't know if he does it quick enough to turn around the morning line, because I know that efficiency is very key. I was thinking 20-1 isn't happening. 5 though is pretty surprising. That's pretty live.
That's pretty good money bet into that horse. But I would agree that maybe there isn't a lot of significant appeal to the horses that have already run. So I understand it, because beyond the 1, the 1A, and the 9, where else would you really go in here?
I mean, beyond the 9, I think you throw a blanket over the rest, which is why I kind of shaded toward the first time starter is my second pick. But
yeah, I was a little bit interested in the 3. Now 12-1 off a 10-1 morning line. This horse is only running for the second time. First time in for a tag. Danny Pish is 13% off 180-day layoff. 1 for 10.
I think we had some numbers on Danny.
Do we?
Oh, he's the hottest trainer.
Wow, I didn't even know that off the top of my head. So
yeah,
look at that.
Ronnie Craven's added to his win total. He trained the winner of the opener. Mm-hmm. Austin was a trainer that we talked about going into the meet as one who has him ready to roll in January. That has come to fruition. One of those wins with a horse he told us would not win.
No.
So that's how good he is. Even when he doesn't think they can win,
they win.
They win.
In the spaces.
And then Danny, less wins than Ronnie or same as Austin, less than Ronnie, way less than JR, less than Steve. By no means this number saying he's the leading trainer by wins, but from a wagering standpoint, he's hot because the impact positive 29% there.
Absolutely. Well, then I like this horse even more.
Danny Pish, he comes to play. You know who's not hot?
There's a lot of answers to that question.
Ronald Katera is 0 for 10. But Brett Calhoun, a very accomplished horseman, certainly a name people are aware of, whether it's Sam Houston or in simulcast land, only 1 for 10. Big time negative impact to the bankroll if you've been leaning on him. And then Steve Asmussen, kind of a victim of his own success when it comes to wagering, because
well, I mean, you look at the amount of starters compared to everybody else at 35, and then you have this sort of expectation with those connections of being the winningest trainer in all of, the U.S. So
makes a difference.
It does.
People bet. Yeah, but and the 6 wins, and that's nice. But yeah, he's in the overbet column. A couple odds-on horses.
There was one right
have
there.
Not fired. Was he the trainer of the 4?
He was.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yep.
I am, while we're talking about hot things, I wanted to bring up, sorry about that. Let's see. Our homepage, because we had what I thought was a great story on Jockey Stats at, the pop-ups even work on the stream. Well, that's good for our advertisers. Get rid of that. But we had a great story that I know Mark put together some of the stats, and then Rainier put together the sort of the content around it. But Pratt and Velasquez dominating Santa Anita turf dirt. And okay, we know they're great jockeys. They win a lot of races at Santa Anita. But the amazing thing about that, and a little small here, but on the turf, Flavian Impact, positive 54%. Who else would you want on the turf at Santa Anita? You certainly would want to bet him, and he's still under bet. He's winning so much.
Absolutely. He's just a beast on the turf over there. And I feel like even races where he's on a long shot that you didn't really think this horse had a chance to win, he's still riding well. He's still giving his horses every opportunity to succeed there. And he's very reliable, as shown by our Santa Anita's jockey.
Very reliable, coming through not only for the people he rides for, but the bettors with that kind of impact. And I think we have one for dirt as well. And Johnny V, a name that needs no introduction, Hall of Fame rider, doing a lot of riding for Baffert. Bob takes a lot of money at Santa Anita. Johnny V takes money wherever he goes. 14 wins, 44% win percentage, still under bet with all that. Now, eventually you win at that clip, it kind of catches up to even if the bettors are over betting you, but they're not. Positive impact for Johnny V.
Absolutely. I relied on both of those jockeys pretty heavily when I was putting my Pick 6 ticket together last week. And for the most part, you could rely on them. So,
how many did they win?
Oh, I don't know off the top of my head.
I don't either, but I know
the one that didn't win.
I know you got some compliments, or what's the word? Appreciation for helping some people navigate the sequence, and our own David Levitch got it done too. So
absolutely,
HRM well represented.
I still can appreciate when someone else lets me know that the backbone of my ticket sort of helped them out in making theirs, and that obviously makes me feel better. So I feel good about giving out some sort of valid information that's helping people out. So there's only one leg that was not correct in there, but it is what it is.
That's right. Well, we like to give valuable information too, and we'll get back to Sam Houston, but definitely wanted to tout that Santa Anita article. It's up at Horse Racing Nation. And the last thing I'll point out, Edward Maldonado, I believe, is the only jockey with a positive impact, both turf and dirt. So as well as Pratt and Velasquez are winning a lot of races on those surfaces respectively, Edwin doing it on both for the bettors with a positive impact. So great to see that, and good for him.
Absolutely. There's more beyond those top two, even though they are dominating significantly out there. There's a lot of great riders out there. So.
And tell everyone again where the Hot Jockey Report is.
In our picks.horseracingnation.com.
Wow. It's awesome. All right, bringing this back up. Great information. So, the good thing about us being dead in the pick 4 is we have more reason to talk about the pick 3 now.
Absolutely. So since we are going into here, I would use the 1, which also includes your 1A. I might be tempted to throw the 2 in there with all this live money that's being taken. I'd use the 3. I'm a little bit interested in that horse, and the 9 as well. I did have a little bit of interest in the 7, but this horse is taking absolutely no money at all. This horse was second time out behind Kimball's Strategy, who's a horse that I think that we had previously talked about on one of our other live streams that we both like. She was 40-1 on debut, so nobody really expected much of an effort there. She was wide, ended up tiring. I could give her a little bit of an excuse, especially at 14-1. In the next race, the next pick 3, I was really all in on the favorite in there who did scratch out. I would use all of the 2, the 7, and the 8. I don't really like the 1, even though you love the 1. And then to close out, I would use only the 5 and 6 in the next after that. So
I don't want to, so we're going to get to the race, but for those playing double pick 3 starting here, you're on the 7. It showed up on that chart that Sam Houston had, whoever put that ticket together. What am I missing in race 4 on the 7?
In race 4?
Yeah.
I think this horse might end up being Lone Speed.
Which, as we saw in the second race,
was very important.
Pew pew, not for us.
Right.
But
this horse is coming off a maiden win. There is a trainer change. That was her career best figure. She's been off since July, so coming in off the layoff.
There are a lot of horses in here that I feel like are going to take a lot of money that have not gone the 6.5 furlong distance, including that one horse who seems like she's been kind of a speed and fade type. So what am I supposed to like about her going further? I know
Right.
that you brought up the point of they're not going as fast early, so maybe that gives her a little bit of a breather, and she's going to put in a better performance, possibly being on the lead or close to it. But I just liked a horse that has been the distance before. I was a little bit interested in the 8. She has been this distance and further. She is cutting back while some others are going up in distance. So I'd give her a little bit of a look as well.
Yeah, the 8, I'm with you there, and the 2. The 7 is where we diverged, and I'm gonna try to get a peek at the double will pays a little closer to post though, when the pool's a little bigger. I'm gonna pull up the stakes thing again because we're all excited about next week. But while I do that, you mind scrolling through the chat, see if anyone has
See if there's any valuable information.
Yeah, or
there.
maybe someone has a pick, or question, or whatever. I do appreciate Tom B. did note in our first time starter report available at Horse Racing Nation. Shame on me for not having that one up. But Braidster 12% with second time starters. So definitely an improvement. Not so much for that horse off the win, but nevertheless.
I did actually have a screenshot of our first timer report for this race, since so many of them are first or second time starters that we could be pulling up as well at some point very soon. In the chat, there's a little bit of interest in the 3 in here, which I had talked about. Same sire as the last in the second start. So that could be a little bit interesting of an angle. And that's from Charles in here.
Not Charles from Mississippi, is it?
I don't know where Charles is from. Charles that said boom.
Oh, maybe it is Charles from Mississippi. If it is, I hope he identifies himself.
Could be. I don't know.
It's a good guy. All right, well, those are the stakes. That's our chat comments. And that's the one in the paddock for the 3rd. It's Sam Houston, about 10 minutes to post. Which race at the fairgrounds are you looking most forward to?
This coming weekend?
Saturday, yeah.
Saturday? I feel like the only race where I have like a clever pick in a way is going to be the Silver Bullet Day. I know everybody is very interested in Lacrete, Clarier's little sister, and reasonably so. This horse had a very nice debut. A little bit interested in the 3 in there. I want to make sure I say her name correctly, so let me pull up my notes on that.
Number 3 in the Silver Bullet Day.
That's the one.
Oaks points on the line.
They are.
$250,000 guaranteed all stakes pick 5.
Do you think I have enough notes?
It's a lot of notes.
It's a lot of notes. I found it. Oh, sorry. It's the 2, Burna Breezy. The replay I was watching, she was the 3 in that race.
Oh, okay.
But in this race for the Silver Bullet Day, she's going to be number 2.
Number 2. That's who you're interested in to upset Clarier's.
Small upset, 92 on the morning line.
No, I think it's a good price.
Most of the money's
especially in a pick 5.
Most of the money's going to go to Clarier's sister and Fanny and Freddie, I think, who's the 1 on the inside. But I'm a little bit interested in her coming from off the pace.
All right. Well, I don't know about Marquee because Derby and Oaks Points is always exciting, but there is the Louisiana Stakes as well, featuring the 4-year-old debuts of Mandaloon and Midnight Bourbon. Mandaloon, perhaps the eventual 2021 Kentucky Derby winner, for now the runner-up. And I'm not sure how entrenched you are or were in the Derby follow-up last year. You're definitely about to get immersed this year because it's different here in Louisville. But there was all this chatter and, the Cox Barn thinks Mandaloon's better than Essential Quality. And, I mean, people were saying it till they were blue in the face. After he laid an egg at the Louisiana Derby, he's training great. He's better than Essential Quality. And then he did end up finishing in front of that one in the Derby. I'm still not sure he was ever better, though. Nevertheless, a lot of hype around this horse. He's 7-5 here. I think he's the best horse in the race. If he's ready to roll, 7-5 could look like a gift. But you posted the question on Twitter. He is the barn mate of Concert Tour. What I thought was telling about Concert Tour, because I know the barn liked that horse a couple weeks ago. I don't know most recently what they were saying. What I found fascinating, though, is he was 3-2 in that race. And in my mind, if he was meant to win, he would have been odds on.
I don't know
I fully agree with that. I think he was pretty meant to win in there, and I think that a lot of people were pretty sold on him, especially with Joel Rosario riding.
Right.
I was never sold on that horse. I was never sold on that horse when he was running when he was a 3-year-old. Obviously, I think that Mandaloun is in a different class than him. However, I think that it's a valid question to ask. Do you take a different look at Mandaloun because of how Concert Tour came back and how disappointing he was? He wasn't really that much of a surprise to me as far as his disappointing performance, but he was bad. Like he was not doing any running in there. He finished last. So when I said like
Amazonian Queen style,
Amazonian Queen bad, but I think that she at least was like close up.
Right? Yeah, she did. She did some running.
Right. Totally different horses. Not going to compare those two together, but at the same time, I think that Mandaloun is a different class. I wouldn't put them in the same category in my mind as far as quality. It makes me take kind of a look at it, but it would make me take even more of a look at it if Mandaloun comes back and he doesn't run anywhere near anybody's expectations of him. Then I think you would look at the barn.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I kind of asked the question, like, because I think that the results of that race, if he totally flopped, you would then be like, oh, well, Concert Tour flopped. So the Brad Cox horse is coming in off the layoff. You'd start making assumptions about that. Now, if he runs his race, even if he doesn't win, at least if he runs his race, that's not a comparison that you would ever make.
I would say if he runs his race and doesn't win, he's just not very good. That's what I would say. Now, I know Midnight Bourbon has a lot of fans. I personally think he's had a lot of chances. Now, we know Steve can develop horses. We know they can improve from 3 to 4. To me, though, that applies to Mandaloun as much as any of them. We saw what Brad did with Knicks Go from 3 to 4. Now 5. He'll be in the Pegasus. But
do you know that I liked Knicks Go in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile back when he went off with like some sort of crazy odds before he was in the Brad Cox barn?
Well, he had just won a Grade 1, though.
Knicks Go?
Yeah.
Going into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile?
He won the Futurity at Keeneland.
Yeah, I didn't know it was Grade 1. My bad. What I like,
and he was like 60 to 1 that day too.
Right.
So I mean,
odds. But of course, Knicks Go is a very talented horse, and Brad Cox is more than capable trainer. I'm a huge fan of Midnight Bourbon. I went to go to the Travers, and I placed a very, very large bet on him to win. He wasn't beating Essential Quality that day, but that was a great race.
It's a great race. No, he gave it the Haskell. Effort. I mean, and
all the drama.
Was he in the Pennsylvania Derby too? With Hot Rod Charlie. So. No, he's right there with the best.
You could disagree, but I think that the whole trip situation may have made him a little unsettled, but then he comes back to run this incredible race in the Travers, and then I think that there could have been a little bit of an argument that in the Pennsylvania Derby he was interfered with in some way. Was he winning that race? I don't think so. Right. But I think you could argue that there was a little bit of interference at least. An inconvenience, perhaps.
Well, I think Mandaloun's a better horse. So if their morning line, which I'll bring that up again, that's a little comp. At 7 to 5, I would play Mandaloun. If he ends up being 3 to 5 and Midnight Bourbon's 2 to 1, then maybe a different conversation. Chess Chief's going to the Pegasus, so field of 6 for now. Anyone else happen to have caught your eye?
No. Yeah, I was going to ask you the same thing. I think it's those two.
It's sort of like a Pegasus at Fairgrounds. I mean, there's the obvious two. I would actually say, though, I think Knicks Go and Life is Good are maybe a little closer in my mind than Mandaloun and Midnight Bourbon are. But,
really?
Yeah. No, I'm just in the camp at Midnight. Well,
I didn't know who I was sitting next to today.
Mandaloun. I mean, I'd love to see Grant Force get a win like this with Pirates Punch. Tommy, the first time in his career, Brawl would be a cool story for him. But I mean, it just seems like those two. I mean, maybe someone else can be second, but it's hard to see how one of them doesn't win.
I agree with you. I think I included the 7 as like the horse to finish third because I had to think of someone else to possibly finish third.
Someone has to be third.
We know it's not going to be Chess Chief. So that was the horse that I was like, well, if I took these two out of the race, who am I possibly interested in? But those are the main two. We all know it. I would be very shocked if one of them didn't
All right, that's part of a guaranteed pick 5 at Fairgrounds. We'll get to the comp in a bit. Back to the action at Sam Houston. Pick 3 doubles start here. If you're live in the pick 4, you're launched. A $50 plus winner to start things off, beating an odds-on favorite. Short field, so maybe some people more than others may have hit the all button. We'll see how that 3 actually plays. But based on the pick 3, ending with the 9 here and starting with the 2 to 5, I think it was pretty ignored.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would have never come up with that horse. So
And didn't, but
we did not.
I mean, in play, like by the quarter pole, it looked pretty dire for the rest of the field.
Definitely, no one was making up any ground in there. So I don't know that you can make any sort of assumption about the track based on that. I don't think that I would. I know that we've seen a lot of fairly even play across the track so far. I know that we had a look at our post position bias going into the meet,
Right.
but I think that it's been a fairly even playing field.
Yeah. I mean, look, bringing up the dirt sprints. I mean, clearly, okay, yeah, you want to be toward the front, and he was on the lead, 50% gate to wire winners so far, and so yeah, he was in the right part of the track, but the others were a length off. Thank you, were a length off, and they were pumping and popping on the turn and not making up any ground. Like,
Right.
to me, that's not, the 3 was on the best part of the track. Well, the others were just a length off and never even ranged up. So
3 was much the best in there.
Yeah.
Much better effort. That was actually, I think, her maiden win.
yes,
Yeah,
because she
it
was
was because she was in that maiden race with
Amazonian Queen. Well, I'm sure the offers after that will be coming in. So congratulations to the connections. Not only getting the job done today, but maybe a chance to sell for a nice price. Back here, I actually think 7 to 5 is fair on the 9.
I think so too.
I am contemplating a win bet. I'm waiting a little bit, but yeah, 6 to 5 now. But the entry, that's too light for me at 2 to 1.
You're not afraid of that Lane Luzzy, Jay Caldwell?
I mean, those are potent connections for sure, and definitely Lane is a jockey I'm looking forward to meeting when I'm there next week. But I also kind of think maybe that's the reason he's 2 to 1 instead of the talent of the entry itself. So
I think so. I think the 1A is going to be the weaker part of this entry as well. Blinkers do go on today. I think if the 1 was the lone one that you might see a little bit better of a price, but not by much. I think people just love an entry too for the price of 1. It's always an attractive option for horse players or new horse players.
And I bring this up because now all the way up to 20 to 1. So I was wrong. I actually thought the deuce would be around 10. And with all that early money, I was like, hope we at least get that. Now up to 21. I'm not going to shy away from that, though. I think there's some opportunity. So for me, like in the 9 as much as I do, I think it's trying to get the 2 in the numbers is the play for me here.
I would include the horse in any multis. I wouldn't be scared away from that. I wouldn't rely too heavily on the 2 to get the job done, especially since we like the 9 so much.
Right. But if it comes 9-5-2, that's a good try.
Yeah, I don't like the 5 at all, but maybe a different horse.
9,
3, 1, 7. Anyone
7.
else?
Well, the 1, I don't want 9-1. Then it's like,
right. But yeah, I didn't really give the 10 a look at all. But this horse is going out only for the second time, so always a potential to improve from start 1 to start 2 significantly. But I'm going with
see
the 1.
If I can get this better.
Here.
I'm doing 9-2. That's
go. Get your wagers in.
Let's see. All right, I'm in.
Congratulations.
9-2. So up to 60. Yeah, that entry's taking some dough for sure.
Yeah.
So what's your play?
If I was betting to win, it would just be the 1.
You would bet the 1 to win at 8 to 5 even?
Maybe not, but over the 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Well,
then,
you do get 2.
Yeah, and then in any multis, I would use the 1, the 9, the 3, probably the 2. 7, man. I wasn't impressed with anything I saw from the 7.
Well, I would have either been single to the 9 and also had some 2-9, but those are dead. So we'll see. We're back.
We are.
They're running.
I'm interested to see if there's any sort of track trend that we can think of as far as
some sort of reason why that horse won the last race. But
I
think
mean,
we were just
like
wrong.
you said, well, I mean, you definitely, to call it 25-1 is the one who's going to be on the lead in a stakes race of lightly raced horses is impressive.
We can't bet on that.
No, but I mean, at
Maybe
25-1,
one day we can.
I think there could have been a case to say, well, whoever gets the lead, they're young. At 25-1, I'll take the front runner.
Right.
I mean, I don't play that way, so
I don't either.
yeah.
The one is getting a terrible trip here. Totally strangled back to be behind horses.
The 9 is not, other than
the 9 is
working pretty hard, but certainly was, I guess you could say, had been in the right spot.
7's running really well. The 3's running pretty well. Let's see if the 1 finally gets through somewhere. I'm going to squeeze on in between those two. Here comes the 3 and the 1 on the inside. There's the 3.
319.
Our hot trainer.
Was it Pish?
Yeah. Faster.
Wow. Let's see. 3, 9-2. Down from a 10-1 line.
Braidster's firing away here.
Firing away. Braidster likes Sam Houston.
I guess so. This horse wasn't going out for the first time, but still very impressive.
Very. And I believe a gigantic double in pick 3. The double, 758 for 2.
Oh, the other Pish. He had the 9 too.
Look at that, cagey guy. Wow.
That's from Mark.
Oh.
Which is also right in front of my face. Too.
Right. Pish. That's why he's hot.
The Pish exacta.
When he has 2 in, he hits with the 9-2.
There we go. Well, I was wondering if he was going to have these horses set it up for each other, but I don't think they did. I think
No, No, and the 9 was in a position to distance himself from the field.
I
and
hit
just
the box trifecta with my picks.
That you did.
Wow.
With the highest price on top, so.
Yeah.
That's not how you said to play it.
No,
though.
I did not.
Yeah. Counts for something.
I think so. The top 3 is there.
Jared Bush saying that the 3 bumped the 9, but I can't imagine we'll see an
Where?
objection considering.
I don't think so.
It's the same
I think they were all in tight when they were in there. I think the 4 was losing steam and the 1 was trying to come on through, but I don't think we're going to see anything significant change.
Yeah.
Not that I'm the expert on calling races for results, but there is an inquiry. Okay.
Wow.
Do you think there's going to be a change?
Patrick says they stiffed the 1.
I think the ride stiffed the 1. I think that horse was in behind horses and being held back the entire time, and then when the horse finally went to come on through, there was just no room.
I can't imagine a change. I mean, I definitely understand.
I understand looking at it, but
Dennis Trusty brought up a good point that the 3 is 3 for 3.
3 for 3 and what? Oh, the 3s is
3-3-3.
Oh. I was gonna say this horse is definitely not 3 for 3, but yes, in the pick 3, 3-3-3.
3 for 3.
Do we think the 3 is going to win in the next? I would be surprised by that one.
I had as a B, so I guess I'd be less surprised than you, but I didn't like the 3 at all in the last 2, so you know.
That horse is a pretty color.
Well, I'm out of the pick 4 twice.
Sorry. You had some birthday luck at Mahoning yesterday.
I did,
though.
yeah. We hit the pick 5 at Mahoning, and we have not had a pick 5 here yet tonight. So it's still conceivable I could hit 2 pick 5s in a row.
It would be a birthday miracle.
That would, yes.
Nice present indeed.
Inquiry. They're not actually showing anything though, so that also leads me to think that this probably isn't going too many places. But
I don't think so.
How about that? Download now.
See, now it's unofficial, no inquiry. They didn't even show anything.
But we showed secrets to win at Sam Houston.
You would have known that Danny Pish was a very hot trainer.
You would have known, yep, because inside there is not that, but this. Now he's
Impact 29.
Now he's 4 for 17, but with the $11 winner.
The Look at him go. And he got the third place finisher as well.
Wow.
Both those horses ran. So
We tried to tell you.
Tried to
tell me. I didn't listen either. I don't know what I'm saying. Faster. Man, Braidster, though. Sire of the meat.
Braidster. What, with his 2 winners? I'm sure he has more.
Neither favorite, though.
True. Yeah. Braidster's probably got a very good ROI going right now.
I would say. Very good. No, there were a few 10-1 horses. They all lost, so that takes a little bit of a hit. But it's probably set for a while with that $50 winner.
Definitely. I guess I'll turn the page.
Turn the page.
We're still unofficial, but
I think we're ready to move on.
Absolutely.
To race 4, pick 3. I was kind of hoping. I was scrolling through the 11 races, and I was thinking, oh, with 11, maybe they'll have another pick 4. Because you had one in race 2 and you have one in race 8.
I was looking too.
But no dice. We do have a pick 6 in race 6, which is when we'll say goodbye. Pick 5 starts in race 7.
Did you make your Space City 6?
I made a Space City 6.
Me too.
Yep. 64
so we'll
bucks.
Talk about it. 64.
Yeah, that's what mine
But
costs.
also, I make the smallest tickets ever. Mine's $12.
Yeah, you're lean. Thin to win.
Yeah.
High 5 carryover. We know Mark's going to be on top of that. That's his favorite bet.
Well, I'm sure we'll hear it if he hits big.
Well, if I hear it, that'd be really impressive because I plan to be about 40 miles away from him by the time the next high 5 happens. But
the shot heard around the world.
But the Discord will be jumping.
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, HRN has a Discord.
We do.
And I noticed, because I'm a subscriber to our great products, of course, that for those who are a subscriber, you will notice that you can connect to our Discord channel through your subscription. So check that out.
We have something new and cool every week, don't we?
Yep. You were 3 weeks ago.
I'm new and cool.
Then we had the stream. No, old and busted. But that's why we have
it was your birthday yesterday, not mine.
That's why we have to keep rolling out all this stuff because gotta keep it fresh. Mm-hmm. Jared Butch says $666 pick 3. I did not see that, but that's interesting because it's been 333.
Now 666.
And then the devil's number.
999.
Let's see. Dennis, I hope this horse I took doesn't get any action. I don't know who that is. Maybe he doesn't want to give it out because then it would take action.
On his Twitter.
Oh, he did on his Twitter.
Yeah.
I haven't multitasked enough. I don't dare try putting social media up while I'm doing this.
While you're broadcasting? I wouldn't. But I'll pull it up on my phone, which isn't connected to anything, so we can take a look.
What else am I gonna? I'm gonna put up the stakes thing again because I do want to pull something up from the website. So we'll let people.
Good. In case you missed it, we have Nick Tamro coming in to chat with me next week a little bit about some of his thoughts and feelings regarding our Thursday night card that we'll be live streaming about, as well as some exciting stakes action that we have going on at Sam Houston next weekend.
Wow. Nick.
And then you'll be there for all of this stakes action.
I'll be there. Still doing the stream Thursday, and then I fly out Friday afternoon. So very much looking forward to that.
Exciting times.
I want to see the cement walkway.
I mean, that is the only reason to go. All right, what was I looking for? Oh, I was looking to see what Dennis's horses.
All right, so we got this up. So this is the pace report. And as you can see underneath Sam Houston, we have Laurel. And similar to the shipper report, the pace report is by day, and it includes all the races in the U.S. and I'm guessing Canada when their tracks are running. Yep. I'm an Assiniboia fan myself. Hastings. A lot of good tracks in Canada.
Absolutely.
And I like their schedule. Like there's some nighttime. It's nice.
There's a lot to choose from.
Yeah. Just like I like this because we can talk about Sam Houston in the twilight hours. Anyway, so this is the pace report. There are 3 races today with what I would consider slow paces. Those are in blue. There's a hot pace in race 10. That's on turf. But this race, slow pace. We lost the likely favorite. I like metallic silver anyway. And then with sort of, to me, the biggest threat out of the race, I think metallic silver moves up a little bit. Pace report says should get the right trip. I'm in.
I don't like this horse at all. But
Well, and at 4 to 5, so that's the big difference. Like, oh, good, I lost the likely favorite, but now you're the
is a good
favorite,
one.
so you kind of have to decide where your price is. I don't love 4 to 5, admittedly, but we'll see where that ends up. I do think there's some opportunity here because I don't like the favorite in the next race.
Fair enough. I think that something I want to point out on our pace report before we close it down is that we did have, with 60% confidence, number 3, Texas Thunder, on the lead in that race. So not only did I think that it was going to happen, so did all of the wonderful stats that we have at Horse Racing Nation, and that was true. And then she ended up winning,
and it was
25 to 1. So
very good point. And the 9 did not make the lead last race, but
she was close.
She was in the mix.
That was with a less percentage.
And I'm not even sure that was her game. I do think it's interesting too. In the first race, which they ended up dueling, so now where she would say Grammy's Boy was on the lead, depending on whose nose was in front at the first call. But
I think you could argue that that was fair enough to say.
Absolutely. So the pace report doing well, and as much as I did not ride with it the first 3 races, I am on board here. I agree with it. My handicapping led me to the 1, and that's how I like using this information. Not so much, I'm just going to look at the pace report and come up with some picks. It's here's what I think is going to happen. Oh, this is supporting what I said. I'm more confident. Or, oh, what did I miss? This isn't how I saw the race. And you can go back and look.
And I think that you bring up a very good point about handicapping products in general, is that it's a tool to use when you're doing your own research before a race. It's not ever something that I would just look at our pace report or just our power picks or just the shipper report and be like, I'm going to follow this one angle and that's that. Because I think that that's kind of where a lot of new players are like, okay, well, this report said blah, 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 so then that's how I'm going to wager. It's like, you still have to make your own deductions and reason through these different resources that you have available. And they're great resources. They're going to give you valuable information, but you still have to decide how you're going to use it. And I think that's why it's like none of these products can be the end all be all, because this is something with so many variables to include. And then you're also talking about a live animal. So I don't think that you can rely on any of these products on its own. I think that as a package, which we do offer a package of them,
right?
It's a great way to kind of be able to sift and sort through a lot of different angles and get a much clearer picture of how the race is going to play out.
Yeah, and just trying to bring that up. I do. Yeah, here's under the HRN Pro reports is where you can get subscription. So for 1 monthly fee, you get all the stuff we've talked about every day. Some of it's by track, some of it's by day, but it's all great information. And so that was a big thing I wanted to bring up with this race. Is kind of like the 1 already. I was excited about trying to beat the 5, who's now out. Now I'm on the favorite, but on top of that, you kind of get an indication that might have things its own way.
Absolutely. Should we show our replay for this race?
Let's. Yes, absolutely. We got that up. We got that off. Let me find the right tab here.
The one that I have for this race is actually going to be the 8, Virginia Strong, who's one of the horses that is cutting back in distance as opposed to going up in distance. The form says in that race that this horse just had no rally. And I think that maybe you could argue that that's true, but I would say that this was like a fairly slow-paced race in general. This wasn't the quality field that you were, possibly thinking that you get. These are $10,000 claimers in here. She was the 8 horse in this race as well. She's going to be the 8 horse in here. I wouldn't say that it was no rally. So you're going to be looking at the horse that is second last on this replay and seeing where she goes from there.
Second last, number 8.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Number 8 all around.
And this was the last race?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which we've seen Lone Star shippers do well.
We have.
Is why shippers, I mean, they're pretty much local, but.
Right. So you're going to be watching the horse, and she does make a little bit of a move. I wouldn't say that she had no rally at all. It's not the most eye-catching, impressive, sustained rally whatsoever. She does end up getting up for third in this field. You could argue that some horses were just getting tired and dropping back. The top 2 end up going on to be much the best in here. Of the rest of the horses, she was clearly not in a league with them. The 2 horses that are currently on the front end do end up finishing way ahead of the group. But I feel like she made a small little move in there. It was something.
I'm just looking at this quickly. I mean, I definitely like for the level type of horses actually went between horses, like didn't do the fan 6 wide
Right.
for a drive, away from any sort of traffic.
And past horses, which
And
we
past
don't
horses,
see as
yes.
much
And
with
past
this lower
horses.
level. So, not the most quality information, but I think it was something worth pointing out. Just another example of where you see something in the form and you're like, no rally, cross off, bye, that's it. And then it's like, if you actually watch the replays and take the time to look at what's going on, there might be a little bit more information available
Right.
there.
Oops. There we
So
go.
many tabs.
I know. Well, I find it's easier to go between windows than tabs in a window.
I disagree, but for
Because of
these
the alt tab.
purposes,
That's what I mean for this.
Yes.
Yeah. Right in the paddock for race 4, 2-1. I'm fine with 2-1. Definitely didn't love seeing 4-5 earlier. The 7 is a horse we've talked about a lot because I didn't see it. You and the Phantom Sam Houston handicapper did. Pixie, I know it's a great name. Someone mentioned that. 5-1.
it was me.
Oh, was it you?
Yes.
Oh, it wasn't in the chat.
No, it's sitting right here. Phantoms.
Lot. Pixie. I mean, at this point, might run off the screen as much as we've chatted.
Yeah.
Anything to add?
I didn't really like the 4 in here. I didn't really see anything in the 6 or the 3. And those are the 3 horses that are actually not covered in the pick 3 that is leading up to this race.
Yeah.
So
Could big balloons in the pick 4.
could be. So
The 8's 9-2. I thought that might be a little higher. It's hard to say though. I mean, once the 5 was out, board's gonna change pretty dramatically.
absolutely.
Yeah, looking at this, I'm on the 1 at 2-1.
Would you single the 1?
I would.
Bold.
Yeah,
Bold
I would.
moves.
In my now long dead pick 4, I had 1 and then 1, 2, 3, 8.
Nick
So-
likes the 7 too.
Wow.
I'm excited to talk to him next week because it seems like he and I agree quite a bit more than you and I do. But differences of
No one really
opinion
likes
make
the
the world
1.
go
Like, I mean,
round.
based on what Nick and Trey have to say, 1 and underlay at 9-5. Based on my handicapping and how the race could shake out, looking at the pace report and some other stuff, definitely think the 1 to beat. So
Yeah, I want nothing to do with this horse, so we'll see.
nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, that's. I would say it seems like when you've had that opinion against me, you have been right more than not. So I'm a little nervous about that.
That's very nice of you to admit.
No, well, so and to me that goes back to it's similar to you how you use handicapping products. I respect your opinion, Scott Shapiro, Serling,
Plenty
Joe
of people.
Christofek. There's a lot of people like, all right, I know they did their work, I know they have a good opinion, but I definitely don't listen to them every race.
No, of course not.
But-
and no one can be right every race. So
Certainly
as much as
not.
I respect your opinion as well, of course there's going to be times where we make a mistake. We were both totally wrong about the 3 in the second race. Just for a recent example, there's plenty of times that I'm dead wrong about something. So
Yeah.
that's horse racing.
That is horse racing.
Yeah, usually when I'm like very, very strongly against, I feel like that gives me a more accurate result than horses that I'm strongly for. So we shall see. But yeah, I think just the biggest thing that I didn't like about this was the increased distance for a horse that speeds and fades. So I just don't love that.
Right. But getting to stretch out.
Right. And also the angle was one that I used against the 3 in the second race. And then that horse just improved a lot. So
And this is 6.5, which I'm not sure how much we've had at that distance. At 7 furlongs, though, the gate to wire percentage, this meet's actually 60%. So they are winning even a little bit more than the other sprint distances, which again, pretty strong, forwardly placed at Sam Houston. And I bring that up because we have hopefully inside speed with the 1. Not really sure who the dead closers are in here, but
I guess it would be the 8.
Yeah, I do understand what you're saying about stretching out hasn't really shown much finish. On looking at the pace ratings on some of the things I look at pace ratings on, definitely drops an anchor. It's not like just getting beat at the wire. The horse is done. I just think at this level, stretching out at Sam Houston, where speed is done even better than at the shorter distances, there's just an opportunity to run a style race that it hasn't had before.
Right, and if this horse got away with very, very slow fractions on the front end, maybe could just keep going, but I just don't really see that happening. Another horse that also hasn't been over 6 furlongs, not even over 6.5, is the 2, who's 2-1. So I just think it's interesting. The 2 outside horses have been this distance or more, whereas the 2 inside horses that are taking so much more of the play have never been this distance.
That tells me the ones who have done really poorly.
Well, they've mostly been like a mile or 7 furlongs.
Right.
It's not really like they're wheeling in the 6 furlong range. But yeah, I think the 6.5 is kind of an interesting distance because a lot of these horses are doing like the 5.5. But
all right. Well,
we shall see.
I would say at these prices, 3 and 8 at 6-1. I think it's either I'm going to play the 1. 9-5 is probably as low as I would want to go. I don't think 8-5 would attract me, or just not play at all.
Not play at all. Yeah.
I mean,
self-control is important.
Well, love the doubles and pick threes. The 2 and the 6 looks pretty tough. That's a favorite. So it's,
Yeah, I mean, she does look poised to go show her usual speed out there, very much so on her toes and alert, but I just don't think it's going to last whatsoever. So,
well, not even cold November rain lasts forever.
Most of the time when you reference things, I have no idea what you're talking about.
But that one though.
Yeah, but I know when you're referencing something in general that I should know about.
Do you ever look it up, or you're like,
sometimes?
Yeah, okay. Well, Guns N' Roses. They ever played a festival you went to?
No.
Doesn't seem like metal does the festival thing.
Are you going to the when we were young?
No, I'm gonna pass.
Same.
The one day, to me, that seemed okay. If you had a
rotating stage and the one day, and you know about Live Nation and the Astro World.
I don't, but I mean, Live Nation needs no introduction.
Yeah, especially not to anybody that knows about the Astro World, whatever. But anyway,
is that a Houston thing?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not specifically.
Because they're the home of the Astros.
Yeah, no, it has nothing to do with that.
Oh, okay.
We'll discuss later.
Not for this consumption?
It's not. It's a whole deep dive with very strong opinions about.
Are there Reddit threads?
Oh, I'm sure.
2-1. All right, I'm in at 2-1. Very eager to see where this lands. Let's see.
So
I never listened to Dennis. Patrick's enjoying it. We're very glad for that.
That's what we want.
We've had as I've said, a very steady level of viewership over the last 2 weeks. So we really appreciate you being with us, and big props to Candace, who got us all situated. We hit go live and we were live. Big improvement over last week.
This week we have all this fancy tech uploaded thanks to her, as well as our name headers, all of the infographics that we have available. So she's the best.
Right.
And so is Clemmy.
When we win an Emmy, we will not forget to thank her on the dais. Astro World. Yeah, people want to know, so we're gonna have to.
Oh, they're gonna have to look it up.
I feel like this is something I'll research.
It's not my place to discuss it because it has nothing to do with any of the stuff that we're talking about.
But it is a Live Nation related.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
Yeah. You'll look it up and be like, oh, well.
That fits.
Earlier, I proposed to you the idea of a head-to-head wager.
Oh,
and
that's
you didn't
right.
Answer. So
and what was it between who and who?
I said that the 7 was going to be in front of the 1.
Man, after you called the 3 in race 2. But
you have
the pace report had the 3 too,
right?
And it has the 1 here, so that kind of evens out.
Right.
So what are we saying? It's like the first call or when?
What is it, 6.5 furlongs? Quarter pole.
All right. The loser brings in the candy next week.
Okay. I think that's fair. We can't steal the lunch bets away from Andy and Anthony, so.
Right.
Candy bets.
Candy for next week. All right. I got the 1 early.
Yep.
Which I'll gladly lose as long as the 1's the first to the wire. That's the most important to me.
Well, let me make a note of this. Our first head-to-head
Yeah.
wager.
And,
You've seen it here first.
For those in the chat, if you have an opinion, we'd certainly love to hear it. Who you think will be on the lead here? Ed and the HRN Pace Report has the Uno. Sarah thinking the 7. Now, wait, is it on the lead to win or just in front of the other?
No, just in front of the other.
Okay.
We don't have to win. Neither of us have to win.
Well, I don't mean win, but does one of ours have to be on the lead to win
Oh,
the
no.
bet?
Just in front of the other.
In front of the other.
By the time they put up the quarter time.
Okay.
Sound fair?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
It's important to know the rules of engagement.
Absolutely.
All right. I am going to cue my bet up just in case the bet is right. I can.
You ready to go? We just got 2-1
ready to
for
go.
you again. So.
Now we haven't talked much about race 6. It does start the pick 6, so it will be.
Space City.
And I did see we have a replay of the likely favorite.
We
It is also the first turf sprint of the meet, so that's fun. And
we
we'll
do have 2 races on the turf, or
3.
3.
2 are
You're right,
routes,
because
but yeah,
it's
this is a
full
sprint. And I will bring this up. Oh, that's the grid. Nothing to brag about there. But yeah, turf sprints. Now this is last year because we haven't had any this year. So, maybe old data, not old, but what can you discern from races in March and
Right.
April now? But nevertheless, gives you maybe a snapshot somewhat of how the track will play. Closers did okay, sprinting last year, 18%. Compare that to 8% so far this year on the dirt sprinting, but still strong lean toward being forwardly placed, 44%, which is about 4 for 9, gate to wire, and then 39%. So 3 for 8, 2 for 5. Stalking. So again, maybe want to be a little closer, but that is the first turf sprint, start of the pick 6. More importantly for this race, third leg of the pick 3 that starts here. Any general thoughts on race 6?
I would single the 2 in there. This horse just seems like much the best of the rest.
Ignis scratched.
What?
Yep.
Since when?
I don't know. We had such good conversation. We never had to check
Oh
changes,
my
but
goodness.
pulling up the pick 3, Ignis is out.
Wow. Well, that changes things quite a bit because I thought this horse was
Yeah, that's
a lock, honestly. So then my other picks that I've written
That's
down
big.
here, that is big news. That's bigger news than the 5 scratching out.
That's a cancel my pick 6 kind of news.
Wow. Yeah, what are you gonna do? Did you?
A quick glance upgrades the 8, but
Yeah. Everyone else was so behind that horse to me.
Right.
The 3, I honestly like it better as a dirt horse. And the 5 is trying the turf for the first time in there. So I guess if I had to pick right now who I like in race 6, it would be the 1 and the 1A, but mostly the 1 and the 8. So bookends in there. A little bit of a look to the 3 in there, but thankfully I have time to refocus before that race because we're only on race 4. That is a big scratch.
That is a big scratch.
news.
Yeah, that was, I
Hurts
would
my
say
soul.
breaking, but I have no idea when the scratch was
Yeah,
actually
probably.
announced. It was not up as of 10 minutes to the first race, but all right. 7-5 from 9-5. I am not betting this horse to win. I am going to play a double with the 5 in the next race, though. So
All right, we do
1-5.
have our very important first head-to-head wager in
And the
here
head-to-head,
for some candy. So let's see what happens.
Candy and
there.
a double on the line.
They're off. And my horse broke on top of yours, but is not being hustled up there whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm liking my spot
your
now.
spots.
Although, I mean, yeah, I think it's going to be Sour Patch Kids next week, or
Sour Patch
not.
Kids?
I like the ropes.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you'll have to text me exactly what you want because you're winning this one. Although I will say some other horses did try to challenge her for the lead a bit early, though. So she wasn't necessarily on the lead. She is now. She's doing it comfortably enough. Who is that challenging her? The 3.
The 3.
I wouldn't have thought that was going to happen, but interesting.
Yeah, Danny Sorensen. He'll take it to you. Certainly, I would say no excuse for the 1. We've seen
No,
faster
absolutely
fractions
not.
already tonight.
Right.
But
If she throws in the towel.
as we've discussed, the anchor has definitely dropped on her in the past.
Right.
6-5.
Let's see what she can do.
So even as I'm watching this, I'm glad I did not bet to win. That's a little short.
4's trying to come up the rail on her. 6 closing out in the middle of the track, so plenty of other long shots in there. She's really under a drive to hold on to this one. So.
I think she's going to get there, though. No, maybe not. Oh.
She did,
she got
barely.
There.
Just barely.
We'll get
the just barely is why I didn't like this horse at all.
No, she
was stopping.
She is never got passed on the gallop out, though.
Well, everyone else is pulling up too on the gallop out.
It just seemed like there was momentum there that never.
She was slowing down big time, but you won. And
I did win, yeah.
And I wouldn't have come up with the 4 or the 6 to be the ones that were about to pass her.
No,
so.
I mean
they weren't covered in the pick 3s.
My B's were 2, 3, 8. So
yeah. I mean, the 8 did no running, the 7 did no running really, the 2 did no running.
This to me is, people talk about like why as bettors we like full fields, and only 3 horses in this race did any running. But
the 3 did some running
the
early,
2,
but then stopped.
Right. Well, there were horses in here that took legitimate money,
Right, absolutely. And the 2 had never been over 6 furlongs and took legitimate money. And I don't really have an excuse available for the 7 or the 8 that just did no running at all.
Yeah. Well, the 8 maybe. They went 6 furlongs and 114. So the 8 just with her style, yeah.
Absolutely. But at what was the final odds on the 1? Let me look it up.
6-5, I think.
6-5. Yeah. That's not how I want my 6-5 winner to win. But she did it. That's all that matters.
And I'm live to the 5 and a double.
There you go. I like the 5 in this race coming up.
We'll bring it up again, but same angle for me. Cold race on the pace report and the projected speed. Who I like to begin with. So.
And has a second at this distance at this level. So that's also why I like this horse too, instead of a horse that's, stepping up as far as their distance limitations.
Cowboy had it. Sam Houston, love it.
And the stars on the silks, the whole thing going on.
I feel like bringing my hat down there would be just kind of poser. Oh, dead heat. For second? Surely not for win.
No. I don't think.
It's a nice try if you were a believer in someone underneath, though.
Almost got there with either 35-1 or 20-1 in an uncovered pick 3.
Yeah.
So those long shots are still running.
Jacob says data is his kung fu.
What's yours?
Kung Pao.
Chicken?
Yeah. George likes it spicy.
Yeah.
Well,
I got Chinese last night.
From where?
One of the places available on Grubhub.
I'm trying to think what's over there. Do you like Indian?
It's not a cuisine that I go to that frequently, but it's not something that I have any problems with.
Well, Clay Oven's legit.
Clay Oven's?
Yeah.
Let me look up this place so I can be
Clay Oven.
Here.
Dead heat for second.
Yeah, no, your winner was there. Jasmine Chinese cuisine. It was pretty good.
Jasmine rice?
I didn't order any of that, but what did I get? Some vegetables, lo mein, good stuff.
That's one of the few options where I live is Chinese.
Really?
Yeah. There's a sandwich shop, Chinese, Mexican, another sandwich shop, and that's it.
No soup?
Well, the Mexican place has chicken soup.
Okay.
And probably egg drop or hot and sour at the Chinese.
Probably one of those sandwich places has a soup as well.
No.
No?
Well, one of them's the world's largest chain.
Are?
Do they have soup?
Oh, I don't know.
They didn't pay for sponsorship, so I don't want to drop any names.
But I will say that I did tag Sour Punch Candy in one of our tweets about the live stream, just in case.
For the clout.
Ever wanted to send some candy our way, because now I owe you. So.
Yep. Next week we'll be taking care of $1,300 pick 4, which I had, pick 3. The pick 4 ends here. I'm eager to see what
what that looks like.
what that looks like.
Some nice
They have
10-cent supers.
They have
too.
not even put up the pick 4 prices yet. So
Interesting.
looks like the 1 will be favored. Took most of the money in the double. Is definitely the favorite in the pick 3, and then the 5, second choice for sure. So doubles 12-1. So with the 6-5, not too bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you play it for more than the minimum, I assume?
I did.
Okay.
Yes, I
figured.
Chasing that pick 4 moolah.
Absolutely. While we're waiting, do we want to show a replay for our top choice in the next race?
We do.
Alive for the double.
How long's the replay?
Like 30
Because
seconds.
I could sure use a bathroom break. You can
I can
talk a
run the
while,
show.
right? Yeah.
Sure.
Virginia Strong?
No, this is going to be Ronald Dale. Not Raoul Dahl, Ronald Dale.
Oh,
Although
Virginia
I don't
Strong was the
know
last race.
that I know how to switch from a screen that is being shared back to our live stream. So maybe I'll let you go after this replay.
You just unclick this.
Oh, okay.
But let's start over.
So we're looking at.
I'll just wait because I want to hear what you have to say. Anyway.
We're looking at the 9 in here, who is the horse that you and I have on top is going to be the 5 in here. But we're also looking at the 7, who does close pretty well on the outside, who is super wide in the middle of the track right now. So this was a race that was actually on a Thursday. You and I both picked the 10 on top. This was the last race on that day. The 9 is closing into the 10, although second best that day. But then you see the 7 kind of make this big move out in the middle of the track and pass tired horses and kind of keep up with this sustained run. I don't know that it's going to make enough of a difference to win today, but I think this was a horse that I would also want to use based on that performance. So she did have to go wider and started her rally from further back than the 9 as well.
So in this race, we're looking at the 9, who's number 5 coming up.
Yep, as well as the 7, who is going to be number 6 coming up.
All right.
So there she goes.
So I think, and we're going to get our Snag It tutorial sooner rather than later, hopefully.
We will.
Just need to. That's on you and that's on me mostly, but
we'll figure it out.
I think you can do things where like it comes up with the bubble, and I don't know if it works for video, but that's the next step. Yeah, we're going this way with this. I think.
Absolutely, steady incline in our technology and available graphics, videos, and information. So pretty cool stuff we have going on here.
Absolutely.
We even include those replays, and we're just going to get them to be even better. So at least this week we can talk over them, unlike last week, and you actually hear what we have to say about them.
Right.
Progress every week.
I love it. So we got 18 minutes. The 1 is a huge favorite, which was expected based on the
connections. Also, first time gelding.
Oh.
Another fun fact.
Yeah, that is a fun fact.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to bring this. You can talk over that, right?
The pace report?
Yeah.
One of our many available products in here. You know what? I'll go through the rest of the sequence with our pace report since
there you go.
I have something to do.
I like
with
it.
Our time. So the Space City 6 is going to be started in the next race. It's not going to be this one. It's going to be the one after this. Huge scratch of the number 2 Ignis. Still not entirely sure what I'm going to do to make up for that, but I'm definitely not going to be singling in that race. So it's going to take up a lot more of the space on my ticket. In race 7, the pace projector has the 3 Born as being on the lead with 100% confidence. So that's pretty impressive. We'll see if that happens or not. It was correct about Metallic Silver ending up being the one on the lead in the race that we just watched. So when we're firing with 100% confidence, it seems to be pretty accurate so far. Lead probability, however, 36%. Oh, sorry. The confidence is about the pace being fast or slow in there. And then the lead probability is going to be next to that 36%. But in that race number 7, I like both the 5. She's our fastest, 5-2 morning line, as well as the 7 in there. Quick. I was a little bit interested in the number 6, but that horse ended up scratching out. In race 8, I'm going 3 deep with the 3, the 6, and the 9. The 9 is going to be your favorite in there. 8-5 on the morning line. Sunlit Song. Also like the 3, Mujab Jr. and the 6, Kanai Bob. 2 deep in the next leg, race 9, number 5 and number 6. Sam's Time, number 6, is a horse that we did watch. or we didn't watch, but we did discuss on one of our Thursday live streams. So this horse is coming back in off of short rest. Ran a pretty impressive race that day. Was also a little bit interested in the 5 8-1 morning line in there. You get your Lane Leslie connections as well. Too deep in the next race, race number 10. Interested in the 1 Armchair Jockey, as well as the 2 Midas Cat. And then I did have a single that I liked, who's probably going to end up being the favorite in the last race of the sequence. That's going to be race 11 on what is an 11 race card today. So lots of wonderful racing from Sam Houston. That's going to be the 4. He's pretty lucky at a 5-2 morning line. So we'll have to see what Ed is interested in there. The 1 horse in here, taking a significant amount of money, as to be expected. I'm going to see if I can get rid of our pace report. If I can do this correctly. Oh, I don't want to do that. There we go. Yay! All right, so pull up the Sam Houston feed again. Once Ed returns, look at that, perfect timing. Oh, I actually have a water, but thank you. I lost our Sam Houston feed, but you will know how to get that back.
I will.
I did get out of the pace report though.
That's the replay.
I went through the whole pick 6 sequence.
The whole thing?
The whole entire.
Wow. Sorry I missed it.
Well, you'll get to share yours.
What did you do for the first leg with Ignis out?
Oh, I said I don't know yet.
Fair enough.
I gotta figure that out. Throws a wrench in my plans.
A little bit. Well, I'd
Definitely
love to see the
not
5
single.
win here.
I would for you. That's very exciting. All pick 3s are covered in here, unlike the last one. What did I pick for, Linda? It's gonna be in here. We'll pay. Let's see.
Pick 4s are nice. I mean, the one's the shortest, but if you're live to anyone else, Love and Life. Let us know if you're live in YouTube land. Someone boomed the 3 in race 2, so.
They have some good ideas in the chat. Anything new and exciting in there right now?
Well, Dennis says we should try StreamYard.
What's that?
I guess Restream's competition. I don't know.
We just figured out Restream.
We did. I like it a lot, actually. Not a paid endorsement, but definitely. I mean, compared to Zoom, which we tried the first week, which ended up being fine. But
I wasn't here for that, right?
No, we were doing Turfway to just get a sense for the audience. Saw the track handicapper at Sam Houston in the background had the stake schedule up. So remind everyone, next week, a big week at Sam Houston. Stakes Day Sunday afternoon. We'll be back with the stream Thursday. You're going to have Nick Tamaro on to talk about all things Sam Houston, including this big Stakes Day, Grade 3, $400,000 Houston Ladies Classic. I have not seen a graded stakes in person since the Clark.
Wow. I was going to say, do we have any probables for that stakes race or not yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
And no idea who's going to be in there.
I think Fairgrounds doesn't really have a lot of older female races, so they're safe from there. But Oaklawn has their progression to the Apple Blossom, right. So I know they're kind of competing for some horses there.
Right.
And I'm sure they were trying pretty hard, I would think, to get Latruska back.
Which I don't believe is going to be happening.
That's not happening. No,
right.
she won't be ready.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Royal Delta, I think. So.
Royal Delta was a great horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill Mott.
We were discussing earlier.
He people love them some Bill Mott. Anyway, yeah, I don't know, but I mean the lack of a horse like Latruska, who I can't imagine who else would show up. She'd probably be 1 to 10. Hopefully, will make for a better betting race, and the 12% takeout to get a full field of stakes mares, I think would be pretty exciting. So
definitely
looking forward to seeing how that shakes out. I'm sure Nick will have. Well, they draw Sunday, so we'll know regardless. But
we'll have plenty of thoughts.
Yeah, we'll have the morning line by then. We'll have it all. Plenty to talk about. Speaking of good stakes action, as they're in the paddock, we'll take a look at them when they're on the track. We have not yet. You mentioned the Silver Bullet Day. We talked about the Louisiana. We also have the Lecomte on Saturday at Fairgrounds, race 14 of 14. Final leg of the All Stakes,
day.
guaranteed pick 5. That is a long day. Thankfully, not as much for us as our friend Jockey and his colleagues. But Papa Cap 9-5, Epicenter 2-1. Pretty spread out after that in a 9-horse field. My inclination is to try to beat the favorites.
I agree, and I like the 4 in here quite a bit. I like this horse when he was breaking his maiden, when he was going second time out at Churchill Downs. Did kind of one of those, as I said earlier, swoop the group type of moves around the turn. Came from, post 11, I think he was that day, and had to make a pretty wide move. But then what I really like is that second time out, he was much, much closer to the pace, sitting sort of like Amazonian Queen was to Texas Thunder, being that one-off stalking position, really having to show a whole different level of versatility, and then was able to be super game and holding off a very promising Brad Cox horse that is out of Tapit, whose name I don't remember off the top of my head, but that really made a significant run at him, and then he just held on to win. So that was at the fairgrounds.
6-1.
So he's already familiar with the track, which I like quite a bit.
Yeah, fairgrounds is unique. I mean, the long stretch and definitely different. So with you there. Well, you convinced me.
Are you taking my pick?
I'm definitely using your pick. I mean, I think this is and I'm in a single Mandaloon, so I know I'm going to have some options. But with the single of Mandaloon also means, okay, I don't really want to get live to Papa Cap unless in one of the other races, if I'm on a 20-1, I can massage it as needed.
Sure.
But I'm definitely thinking with the single Mandaloon, wouldn't mind getting live here to a few. We'll see. Blue Kentucky and Call Me Midnight are definitely two I would say be considering. But to me, sort of the next tier after the two obvious ones, Papa Cap and Epicenter, Trafalgar and Cyberknife, I think are probably the two for me. Trafalgar?
I don't know.
That's probably
That's
right.
how I would say it.
I'm terrible with names.
Do you give a look to Surfer Dude at all? I know that this isn't a race that we've gone through a ton with our time, but
yeah, no.
I wouldn't to win, but I would use underneath possibly.
I mean, it seems like it's been less so, and this kind of goes back to you were in diapers or younger, but like when horses raced a little more, and Derby prep season was, you actually had like allowance races this part of the year, and then your stakes were closer to Derby, and you might run twice in April, God forbid. But there was definitely this sort of horses really progressed and stepped forward at some point in their 3-year-old year. Now with sort of the mode being 5-6 lifetime starts before the Derby, spread out over 8-9 months, or contracted to sort of the Justify type schedule. But either way, they run quick right away, and you see less of that sort of moving forward. So it's something I've had a hard time as a Derby handicapper sort of calibrating, because I keep thinking, if they just step forward at 8-1, they're right there. And just the way the prep season is nowadays with 2 races as a 3-year-old before the Derby, you don't get that. Like, you have to be fast all the time. So that's something I'm going to try to keep in mind more and more, because it's bitten me before. But big news. I don't know if Candace did this behind the scenes or if I've just missed it this whole time, but we actually do have the chat on our dashboard now.
Beautiful.
So for those who, and I can choose which ones to show. So in the case of Patrick Christie, I think Papa Cap nails them.
I think that he's the most logical horse to do so. I mean,
He's the one that's coming in with the most graded stakes experience. So, and finishing second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile de Corniche after a little bit of trouble in there.
Yeah, no, he's the one to beat. He's
logical. I just want to take a shot against. I think that we know his game and we know what he's capable of, and he's certainly the most logical winner, as well as Epicenter. But I just want to take a shot against with a horse that I think is, likely to improve in here, already has that fairgrounds experience, shown that he can run in different styles as need be. I think that that's something that really bumps a horse up on what I look for in a pick, especially not as the favorite.
Right. All right. Well, that's the LeCompte field. More on that on Horse Racing Nation. Plenty of analysis. David Levitch is going to have a sheet for fairgrounds. He hit the pick 6 on a $144 ticket at Santa Anita last week. So that's all at picks.horseracingnation.com. other editorial stuff on the main site. So check that out at the LeComp. But now I'm totally addicted to this chat thing, especially when our guys and gals have our backs, because Tom B, noting that Equibase updated at 5:20 Central, 6:20 our time, the Ignis scratch. So that was only 30
Very
minutes
recent.
ago.
Okay.
Very
All right.
recent.
So then we're really on the ball. We didn't realize the moment that it happened. We realized 2 races ahead of time, technically. So I think that we're pretty on it then.
Much better than going to make the pick 6 bet at 3 minutes to post and
Right. Or
realizing
1
that.
minute as they're going into the gate and realizing that your single is no longer an option.
Right. And exactly. My ticket did have that one singled. And I would, when that happens, first leg especially, I'm just going to pass and play the pick 5.
Fair enough.
Because the pick 5 will cost the same because it's single. And
I did notice that earlier, and it was the first time I kind of looked at it. I was like, oh, what? And then I was like, oh, it's the same amount of combinations technically. So
right. And that is now Sam Houston, it doesn't matter as much because it's 50 cent pick 6, 50 cent pick 5,
Right.
pick 4, $1 pick 3. But it like Churchill and Keeneland, they have Keeneland is $1 pick 6. So, but Churchill has the 20 cent jackpot pick 6, but it's okay because 90% payback, 15% takeout. Anyway, 20 cent pick 6, 50 cent pick 5. So I always think, well, if I'm using 2 or 3 horses in the first leg, that's what the pick 5 would about cost, 40, 60 cents versus 50. If you're using 1, it's going to be cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
If you're using more than 3, it's actually going to be more. And just with the way the takeout works and pick 6 versus pick 5 and where your favorites are, I do think that's something to keep in mind.
Absolutely.
When you play.
And I think too, instead of spreading big time in the first leg of the pick 6, why don't you just wait? Unless it's like one of those mandatory payout days or there's a decent carryover or situation
right.
like that.
If you're spreading against a favorite, because that might be your opportunity.
Later on, perhaps, but I think that it's a good point to bring up of making that decision and having it be an important decision to make.
Yeah, I think especially, pick 6, and you're like, wow, I like the 2 top choices. Like, okay, it's a pick 6, so you are adding something, and if you're that narrow, maybe you're okay. But I've seen some where people use like the top 4 choices, and at that point, you're betting against yourself,
right? Which we hate to do,
right? And you can either A, make a cheaper ticket if budget's a concern to you, or B, with the pick 5, which sometimes has a smaller takeout anyway. That's not the case with Churchill with the jackpot, it is smaller. But what I'm trying to say is, you can even press a little bit in the pick 5 versus risking it in the first leg of the pick 6. But right. Sam Houston, it's 50 cents either way. So, it's more about pool size. Pick 5's a little bigger. So
I do want to mention too, really quickly, there are a lot of horses in this field that are coming out of the same race as the 5 and the 6, and those are also the 7 and the 8. I didn't really give either of them much of a look, but they are coming out of the same race. So I just wanted to mention that as well. But I think that the margin of second place, and then I think it was 4th place for the number 6 in that race, is much more significant and farther ahead than anything that the 7 or the 8 showed in there. So,
all right. So who are you on here?
I like the 5.
You and I both, 7-2. That's a square price for sure. I'm surprised to see the 1 odds on. I mean, I definitely thought would be favored. I was thinking though, like 3-2 and 5-2. But based on the doubles, this is going to be it. Yeah. Steve,
first time gelding.
But you know the deal with Steve.
Well, we do, but I think a lot of people still
He's cold.
See winningest trainer in North America.
Yes. And probably at Sam Houston, actually.
Probably. I would say so.
Certainly in Texas. 6 for 35. So it's not like he's cold in terms of winning. I mean, that's nearly 20%, but he's over bet.
Right. And I think that's the point of all of this great stuff that we have is the impact of how often should they be winning based on a variety of factors. And are they actually like living up to that hype with the kind of money that his horses take? And for this current meet, now that we're on week 3, it's not it.
Not it.
It's not it. It's just not it.
3-5. You just got to be willing to.
That's not for me. I did have written here, there's a little bit of a questionable drop as far as class off of the layoff. So
This horse has never been down to the $5,000 level as far as claiming price before, and that's a pretty significant drop. So when that happens, maybe you're just dropping to win. Maybe you're hoping that this horse is claiming away. It's always something I take a look at,
Right.
because the horse just can't compete in general, or is that because you're trying to get the win, or are you trying to just let the horse go on to a different family? There's just something a little fishy.
Well, and as we discussed, even though it is the layoff, where's the shipper? The Lone Star horses are they're winning their fair share, 17%. They're outperforming their odds too.
You might say that they're outrunning their odds.
You might, especially.
I might. You know, that's kind of like the most common term I was hearing for so long, that's why I made it my little handle there. It was just like every other day.
One.
Yeah. Well, every other day I was just like, oh my, outrun their odds. And I was like, oh, how nice. I'm just going to use that. So it's not my term, but it's definitely very catchy.
Yep. So 42 starters, 17% winners, and a generous positive impact. And really looking at the impact of others, the only one that's that positive, a lot of, I'm guessing, probably short price losers for the other numbers to be as short as they are. I'm guessing with Delta, maybe some Broberg shippers that did not run up to snuff. I know he had a 1-5 that got beat on Friday or Saturday last week. So
I think I singled that horse in one of my multis and was like, no.
Yeah.
But hey.
That's racing, right?
It sure is. So we both like the 5. You thought the 1 would be favored. Did you like the 1 at all or no? Because I didn't.
I mean, I picked second. The old I'm going to list it, because if for some reason they're both 5-2, that's a different conversation. But yeah, 3-5. I mean, we ended up being right in race 2 when we faded the 4-5. Unfortunately, we were not correct about the 3 refusing to stop and winning at 25-1.
Right.
But yeah, this is just too short for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the 5 and the 6 offer significant. Well, maybe not significant, but much more value than the 3-5 favorite, especially since I picked the 5 on top and then the 6 second. I didn't even have the 1 in my top 3. So
wow, yeah. So you're way against it, 3-5.
Mm-hmm.
As they're going in the gate. Well, I am.
That bothers me.
My double here would put me up for the meet, so I'm very bullish on the 5.
Okay, then maybe you'll buy the candy neck.
That's a bet.
Maybe lunch though.
We got to paint.
Not racing.
No. Bucking.
I think that's one of the most common questions I get asked by people that are tuning into a race for the first time or really have no idea what's going on. It's like, what are those other horses doing? Or they think that they're racing as well. It's like, if you imagine it like the buddy system, and there's just another horse there to kind of keep them calm, keep them chill, because they are herd animals. They do feel more comfortable in groups, and so it's kind of like a little friend to take the edge off.
It's a good explanation. Mm-hmm. Will that be in that book?
Which book?
The textbook.
I doubt it. It's not racing specific, but equine behavior in general. It's a great book.
Right. Husbandry type stuff?
More like ways of communicating amongst each other versus what do certain things mean when they communicate with us, and then different behaviors in different situations. So
Charles has a 1-6 exacta box.
Okay. 1 is not really doing so well so far. Now, our pace report,
that's a tough spot.
Said that the 5 was going to be on the lead in here and sitting second.
Yeah. So, I mean, the jockey kind of straight up. So, yeah, I mean, he didn't.
Not asking.
Right.
How did the 7 horse end up?
I mean, as a 5 backer, I don't hate the spot, although I hate when you end up getting caught between like this. But
do you? I think as long as there's enough room, it doesn't really make too much of a difference. But it also, I mean, that's another situation that just depends on the horse and where they're comfortable.
Right.
I'm a little surprised that the 8 is doing so well right now, but now it seems like the 5 is ready to.
I mean, if the 1 wins, that's
a miracle. Pretty confident so far on the 5. We'll see what kind of
needs to
pick it up.
he's
though.
not.
The 8 is giving him.
He's
a run
not
for
putting
his
him
money.
away. Yeah,
Nope.
look good until it didn't.
Right. And here comes the 4, who I saw that Trey had on top, so that was a nice pick by him.
Very.
Mm-hmm. I would have never come up with the 8.
Yeah, I like the 4 better than the 8 for sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh. Who
Would
did you
you?
have?
Did Mark use the 8?
No.
the pace report's that slow, it's so low, anybody can grab the lead.
Sorry about your double.
Yeah, that would have been a good one. Well, we were right about the 1.
Sucking?
Well, I mean, just
Not performing. Let's say that.
4 to 5. That's
I also had written in here that there was some weird action in the left front that doesn't quite flow with the 1 horse, and it's something that you can see still a little bit in there. There's just something that's not quite fluid. I don't want to say off because that's not necessarily true, but just a way of going that didn't really give me much to be interested in.
I was pretty excited about the 5 for a few strides there. But
I mean, the horse ran.
when you didn't put any
but-
daylight between the 8
Yeah.
and the 4 was coming, I was like, yeah.
Yeah. Nope. Nothing. How about the 8 though? 18 to 1, second. Of course, I also would have never come.
Yeah,
up with.
30 to 1 morning line.
Yeah.
Mark
So-
somehow found it. Congratulations, Dennis. I'm not sure which contest, but he had it.
Okay.
So-
Good for him. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do we only have one race left?
We only have 1 race left.
Just go by so quickly when you're having so much fun.
I have to say, like, on paper, you look at this and you're like, holy cow, it's going to be 2.5 hours.
It doesn't go
It
by pretty quickly.
Goes by pretty quick. And I mean, like, when I've done similar at the track, you're kind of back and forth, you're on for a few minutes, like, that goes by quick.
Oh,
And
sure.
you get the breather,
Right.
actually can, like, eat something between.
Yeah.
So,
I also want to say too, I don't feel like I'm reaching for something to talk about. I feel like there's always something that we have to discuss.
Yeah.
Coming up. So
well, and part of
helps,
that's
too.
thanks to
Thanks to Candace.
Candace with all the graphics at the ready.
Absolutely.
I mean, we can talk about ourselves. No, we won't. We won't put people through that. But we will be
another
back on
live stream.
We will be back on Thursday, and we would love it if you haven't already to like and subscribe because we're having a lot of fun doing this, and it's great that we're able to involve the chat now, and we're definitely going to be doing more of that.
There's Papa Cap again.
There is Papa Cap again. That was unintentional Papa Cap. Smoothie Lee.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't put this horse really anywhere, but this wasn't a horse that I was like has no shot. So would have come up with that one before the 8, but still not in the top picks.
Yeah, I mean, I guess would have been, well, I would have had the 4 had I had been right in the first 2 legs of the pick 4, but 2 out of 4 doesn't
Coulda,
pay
woulda,
anything.
shoulda.
Yeah, I mean that's like I would not have had the 8 regardless,
No,
but
definitely not. Those horses that have already run at this meet are coming back to do pretty well in general, though.
yes,
So I think that's another stat that we should probably look at for next week because we'll have even more.
we
of
will.
those.
Yeah, so far through, I keep
Cycle through it all.
to see everything you got. There
Right.
it is. They were 15% already, which isn't too bad. But yeah, it does seem like the ones who have run already getting some fitness in. And what I would be interested in, we'll have to see if the data wizards could come up with that. I'd still like to know, okay, they've already run at Sam Houston. It still seems interesting. Where did they come from before that? So
Oh, for
what's
sure.
the progression into having
The pick
run
4,
here already?
That pick 4 paid $6,707.25.
That's not too bad.
Not at all. Yeah, I think that the more data that we have access to as far as how horses have come back to run after already running here and then where did they come from before that, like you said, I think that we can draw some very interesting conclusions about the meet in general. So we'll just have to see.
And we will.
We will.
Conclusions will be drawn.
Indeed.
Pick 6s will be drawn.
What are we going to do without Ignis?
Well, like I said, I just kind of feel like, okay, I had my plan to single Ignis and now I can just play the pick 5 for the same. But that doesn't mean there aren't opportunities to play the board here, because with that kind of scratch, money's already in, and that won't get refunded necessarily. Well, and I guess in the win pool it would, so you won't see that. But I don't know. I'm hoping there's opportunity, but I will say, like, the 1, 3, and 8 made the most sense, and they're all 2-1. Maybe the 7 at 6-1.
Princess Phone.
Yeah.
She's back to turf sprinting after 3 dirt attempts, and I feel like with certain horses, you can kind of throw out their dirt tries when they're getting back to something that they've already shown more of an affinity for. So perhaps this is what's more to her liking, and she'll be running better than she did in her last 3 dirt tries. Not impossible.
That'd be my hope. And this is a turf sprint. More on that in a moment. But so we do look at this pick 6. Jared Bush says the 5 horse in race 7 is a lock. I had it as a B, so I definitely don't agree with a lock, but do agree certainly one of the contenders.
That horse is my top pick, but I wouldn't go that far. I think the most recent horse that I was extremely confident about being a lock was Life is Good in his Breeders' Cup Mile, and we are 1 week out on Saturday from the Pegasus.
From the return.
Absolutely.
And are you on him again?
Yeah, we've talked about this.
Well, they don't know.
Oh, they'll know.
They'll know.
Yes, we're both in Life is Good's camp over Nick's Go, and certainly the rest of the field.
Yeah,
showing up.
I am eager to kind of see where the board shakes out. I mean, I think Nick's Go will be favored, but
do you? I mean,
I
think
know.
That because he's already gone.
I mean, if Life is Good is 4-5 and Nick's Go is second choice, I'm not going to bet Life is Good.
So you just want whoever's not favored out of the two?
Not necessarily that. If it's 6-5 and 7-5, to me that's a lot different than 4-5 and 8-5.
Yes, that's fair. But I don't know.
I think in that situation where they're going to be so close in the wagering, most likely, I would want the horse that I feel.
If Life
so
is
strongly
Good
to
is
win.
higher than odds on, it wouldn't matter to me if he's higher or lower than Nick's Go.
Okay.
But
There's a lot of ifs.
if he's odds on, I couldn't play him.
Would you single him in multis?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Then we agree.
Yeah.
I remember when I was doing my Breeders' Cup analysis, that was the one horse where I had absolutely nothing at all to say about the rest of the field, and I was just like, lock up the weekend, Life is Good, let's move on. But I remember that you didn't feel that way about that race.
No, I was against him big time.
Yeah.
I forget who I picked.
Silver
but
State?
Probably.
I think that was who you liked.
That didn't work out.
No, but you like him in this race, and I think that it's his race to lose. So.
Yeah, I think.
And also, you have to think about implications of where is this horse going. And I think Life is Good is on the trajectory to have a very good 4-year-old campaign, whereas this is
Right.
Nick's
This
Go's
is it.
last race.
Yeah.
And of course, they want him to go out a winner, and he's a very accomplished horse, and I'm a huge fan of his, and he's great. But next step is breeding. Life is Good, not the case. Will Life is Good be a little more tuned up for this race? Maybe. And an even bigger question I would ask is, okay, concert tour flops. If Mandaloon doesn't perform this weekend, then what do you think about Nick's Go?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Nick's Go's had his share of, Saudi Cup, whatever, had international shipping, but the Met
he
Mile.
Still ran okay.
He ran fine.
The Met Mile was a flop.
Yeah. So.
Absolutely. And the 1 turns, 2 turns, it's a valid argument. It's not something I took a lot of stock in until Nick's Go and the clear difference in the two. But that race was just bad.
Yeah. Well, Silver State beat him.
Yeah.
So what happened in Dirt Mile. So.
Right.
Yeah. All right. 9-5 on the 3 here.
Pick up the phone.
Tough board.
And Princess Phone. Both competing against each other in here. The 3 and the 7.
Oh. Couple of phones. Oh, yeah. Pick
the
up.
Phones.
Spelled differently, though.
Yep.
Run Ballerina and Imaginary Music.
Yeah. Interesting.
Hmm.
There was It's Mandatory and Mandatory Payout in one of the races at Aqueduct today.
Oh, today?
The same race.
How did It's Mandatory do?
Not well.
Yeah. Former Tim Gleishaw trainee, I believe.
Chris Griffin on the mic.
I've
Set
heard
up
that.
again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
CG.
Yeah. I told you one day I just wanted to be the voice of Family Guy Chris Griffin as a joke, just for fun.
Be great.
Yeah.
I don't mind the guest callers. I know some people are like, oh, but
It's funny.
yeah.
It's hilarious.
I mean,
Even
if they
Bobby
don't do
Flay
a
did
good
it,
job, they don't do a good job. But
and then
that's
they never
on
do it
them.
again.
Right.
It's just,
Conan.
it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you ever do it?
I would do it.
Just once?
I mean, I think once is all you need.
Yeah.
I missed your pick six, so you need to walk through it again. Did you have a
Alright.
single?
I did, and now we don't anymore. Oh, I do. I do still in the last.
I still have a. Oh, in the
Yeah.
last. Wow, that's my spread.
Really?
I don't like the 4. Is that your single?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Look at that. All right, so I guess with the scratch in here of Ignis being out, I would use the 1, the 3, and the 8 in this race. And then in race 7, I like the 5 and the 7. In race 8, I like the 3, the 6, and the 9.
All right.
Race 9, 2 horses deep again, 5 and the 6. And then race 10, I like the 1 and the 2. And then close it all out, singling the 4 in the last. What have you got?
Well, I would. It's not. I mean, I hate to say it. What do you got? 6 betting interests in here, right? Yeah, 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. I mean, I'm sort of with you. No, I definitely not going to hit all. I don't think I can play. Like, I just feel like, okay, I'm using the top 3. The 7's my alternative. So, okay, the 4th choice. And to me, like, let's say 1, 3, 7, 8, it has to be one of those. The 4 or 5 can't win. Like, let's say that's my opinion. Mm-hmm. If the 1 or the 3 were odds on, I would say, okay, throw that one out, use the other 3. But they're all evenly bet.
Right.
So you're not.
Well, I think no one knows where to go now.
Taking a stand doesn't even increase your. You're picking one to throw out, but you're not. It's not really an opinion that this one's an underlay more than any other. So just struggling in all directions. But
it's not a race where there's a strong opinion now.
Right. We'll see where the board ends up. Maybe if one just looks like it's taking crazy money, and by one I mean any one of those 4 maybe can lean on the other direction. But for the most part, I actually had 1 and 7 as A's in race 7, which does seem like a bit of a against the grain.
With the 7 in there.
You had the 7, but our one guy said the 5's a lock, so we're against that, or I'm against that, I should say. So I'd be willing to single the 6 in race 8.
Really? You don't like the 9 at all?
I do. I just think the 6 is the longer price. So,
Right.
Like that's a potential stand.
We were told that that's a good angle.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Race 9, I like 157. So so this is kind of what I'm thinking too. Like, okay, I'm against the favorites in race 9. My A's are all the longer prices, relatively speaking.
Right.
Willing to maybe take a stand in race 8. I'm flummoxed what to do here. So do I really want to risk anything?
Be a decent price. You could maybe get bold and single that horse.
Yeah. In the 9th? Yeah. I picked the 7 on top, but it was just kind of like, well, I like 157 and leaned in one direction. I do like the 3 in the 10th. Like that to me is my single. Pacific Typhoon. Oh, that's HRN picks, not yours.
I have Jeff's picks. I have our picks. I have my picks. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm with HRN in the 10th. And then in the final, I mean, I do like the 4. And I think now that we're talking through this.
I thought you said you didn't like the 4.
Well, I downgraded because I was 5 deep, and that's the favorite.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, if I'm 5 deep, don't use the favorite. But now that we're talking through this, if the 6 beats the 9 and I get through race 9 with my A's, none of which are favored,
then
pick 5 wise, the 4 is still going to be okay. So 4 is on the ticket. Okay. So see here, probably no pick 6. I'm with Sarah on the logicals making sense, but for the late pick 5, which will be signed off for, my A's, which actually I can bring up, is 176 over the 9. I think the 157 and the 9th is sort of the lean. Like I could even make a case for using the 9 and race 8, which I know Coots would enjoy.
You would.
So
you have it right there.
A and B, yeah. How can you not?
How could you not?
And
When in doubt.
That's right. And singling the 3 and the 10th. If I went any deeper, flummox. If I went any deeper in the 10th, then I might have some decisions to make elsewhere. But I'm willing to single Pacific Tycoon. And I do think my opinion lets me use.
I think it's Pacific Typhoon.
Typhoon. Did I say Tycoon?
Typhoon.
Need those now and laters. 4, 7, 10, 11, 12 to close
plenty
it out.
of Wordle, so
I have.
You should know all your words. Yeah, today I muted that word on my Twitter feed. It was a beautiful day.
So when it first started becoming somewhat quasi-popular, I muted as well.
But now...
And then I was like, all right, I at least got to play it and see what the fuss was about. And I was like, oh, it takes 5 minutes. It's one a day. This is all right. So I've come around.
Because you're winning.
I mean, pride before the fall and all that. I'm shocked when someone can't get the word.
I'm just not, like, my brain just doesn't think that way. So
Right.
I, try it a couple times and I'm like, no, I don't like this. But I'm also really not good at Scrabble either.
Well, I mean, that's another benefit with, like, this format is you can put in a wrong word and it'll tell you that's not a word.
Right.
So Scrabble, you don't have that in your time.
I mean, you have your little book that everyone's like, that's not a word. You can't use that.
Right. Challenge.
Yeah. So Nick likes the 3. Trey likes the 8.
I'm impressed that they updated that mid-card.
They did. Very interesting.
Because
and,
as we learned earlier, the scratch
technology.
came during the card. So
Right.
appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. What have we got?
Alex likes the 8 here.
Okay. I don't hate this horse. This horse can win. It's another Danny Pish horse. Hot trainer.
Hot trainer. That will definitely can win.
Mm-hmm. Although this is the first turf sprint, so we don't have a ton of stats for this meet on that yet. And by we don't have a ton, I mean we have none.
Zip.
However, we did have some for last year.
We do. Is that a segue to bring it up?
It's a suggestion.
There it is. Turf sprints. Sam Houston. Again, this is last year. We have not had any this year, so this will be our first. But a little different than dirt sprints. Less skate to wire winners.
Mm-hmm.
Stalkers still do okay. Closers a little better. It's 8% for dirt sprints, 18.5 almost for turf sprints. So you can be further back on the turf than the dirt, which I guess is stereotypical of the surface. But
Right.
Overall, looking at this, I would say no real discernment about posts. You can win from the outside, sprinting on the turf, but still probably would prefer forwardly placed.
Seems like it all makes sense to me.
Who's on the lead here?
Oh boy.
And some are coming from dirt, so I know that.
You know what? Probably the 1A. I'm going to take a stab with that one.
See it?
You could see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible.
Not the 8?
On the lead? I don't think so.
No. Okay.
No.
It's just that outside. Well, is it? Yeah, because 1 and 1A are 1 and 2, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
post-wise. They're inside.
Are they?
Yeah, so 8's far outside.
Okay. And it's different everywhere where they end up.
Well, it just so happened that they're 1 and 2. But yeah, they could have drawn 3 and 6. Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Well, my replay for this race was about the horse that's no longer in here, so I got nothing in that.
Got nothing,
realm.
Jerry. Well, turf sprints again, forward probably better than not, but a little kinder for the closers. And there is the dirt sprint just for comparison. That 8 1/3 closer percentage definitely lighter as they head on the walkway.
The cement walkway that you can't wait to see.
8 days, I'm gonna lap it up.
How long are you there for?
3 nights.
3 nights. Just you?
Just me.
Nice
Well,
little solo vacation.
Nick will be there. Well, it's not vacation. It's work.
That's what we get to call it now. Okay.
It's work.
I'm going to take some trips later this year.
I hope you get the opportunity.
Oh, boy. Our last race.
Our last race. Pick 5 after this. Pick 6 starts here. Pick 4 in race 8.
Yeah, it's 11 race cards. So on my way home, I'm gonna have it coming through my speakers. What's going on? We get to listen to Nick and Trey and.
The best is in the summer. Sunroof open, windows down, blasting Saratoga.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't have a sunroof.
Oh.
Sad.
Windows down though.
Yeah. I had many a drive back from Saratoga this past summer, and it was like 3 hours away from me. So what I would do is, this is how much of an obsessed fan I was, is I would find the show that had already been taped for America's Day of the Races or Saratoga Live or whatever it was for that day. And I would put the show on and listen to it on my drive home to see what I missed when I was at the track when I couldn't listen to all the NYRA analysts talk.
Wow.
See if I missed anything for the day.
That's hardcore. Matt Schiffman gave me a compliment.
Aw, your grid A picks. Nice.
How about that?
Look at that. Playing our Derby
Thank
Wars
you, Matt.
game.
Yeah, he checks all the boxes. Signed in as
Absolutely.
Horse Racing Nation.
Yeah.
Playing Derby Wars.
Yeah.
Using the grid.
I got some nice Derby Wars swag from the Closet of Stuff.
Oh.
A nice little small fleece. Apparently small is not the most popular size that we have sold in our fleeces. It's still pretty big on me, but it's super comfy. I like it.
Comfy's good.
Derby Wars swag. Whenever I go out to let Cora outside, I get to do some free advertising.
Oh.
So.
You ever get stopped? What's Derby Wars?
No.
No.
Maybe one day.
You know what the original title was?
No, I don't.
Derby Skirmish.
Skirmish?
Yeah.
You just make that up?
I did.
I was first told to play Derby Wars, maybe 3 to 4 years ago, before you ever knew who I was.
Yeah.
And my friend Nate, who is probably not watching, but he's also a newly minted veterinarian, big fan of horse racing, was like, you got to play this game. Derby Wars is the best. You got to try it out. So he and I would play against each other over the summer at different Saratoga competitions.
Yeah.
And that's why Mark knew my information, because he's like, I've already paid you.
And when you applied, and we're like, oh, she has a Derby Wars account. So
big bonus.
That's for in the future as we grow. That's a tip.
Make your account now.
Yeah.
We'll get you hired faster.
Definitely look to see if you're in the mix. Anything else here yet, Dennis? Also, like 1, 5, or 8 could be on the lead. 1 and 3 seem to be taking the late money here.
I like the 3 quite a bit with the on-track warm-up, which looks good out there. For,
2 to 1.
And Leslie and Caldwell.
Oh,
hot connections.
We need to do the jockeys next week.
Definitely, one of our many picks available at picks.horseраcingnation.com.
Yes, the hot jockey report.
I think we'll have some really good information after this week is over.
Yeah,
Not
it seems like
already,
right. No, you get 3 weeks, so it's like some have already run back as we've discussed, but you're also kind of in that cycle now that, okay, if you were here for the meet, the vast majority of horses have had an opportunity to run. So
right.
Yeah.
I think other than that big stakes day where you have some horses that are shipping in just for that event, that pretty much I would say that most of these connections are here for the meet, and this is where they intend to be, as a broad assumption.
El Novato says 735 here. Boxed, I'm guessing that means.
It looks like a box.
Yeah. I like how it's a taped box.
It's closed.
But isn't that piece of tape like over the...
I don't know. I can't see that well. You know, I wear contacts.
You do? Oh, I did not know that.
If I took them out, that camera would be blurry.
Really?
It's really bad.
So you're farsighted?
Sure.
Or both? Astigmatism?
Yeah. I'm blind.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about that?
How about it?
Are you a binoculars person at the track?
No.
No.
I watch the TV if I can't see.
Oh.
But I also grew up in the days where you had the TV to watch at all times. So.
I like carrying the binoculars
around just to look like you use them.
I feel like it makes me look like Todd Pletcher. Because I always see him carrying them, and I've never seen him use them. No, I'm not a sunglasses guy.
No? Not even like a really cool pair of shades?
Nah, I just feel like I can't pull them off. But
They're not for everybody.
I do wear a toupee on Derby Day. So
I would pay to see that.
no toupee. Well, I would like to get paid though.
I mean, you're due at this track.
Yeah, I've had 2 winners.
Oh, I mean, as far as your
Oh yeah,
overall
I'm down
meet.
for the meet. I
Yeah.
had.
I mean, I am too.
I had grandeur visions happening turning for home in the last, but
Ronald Dale did not.
no.
Do you think that's a
Not
play
my
on
Dale.
Roald Dahl, the author?
Maybe.
Or is there
What's the pedigree?
I don't know. Off the top of my head.
Oh.
I guess we could look it up. But
I mean, if it's like Giant Peach or something,
it'd be funny. I have to look it up.
then we'd know.
Right. Or maybe it's
Wonka.
just someone. Maybe it's just someone named Ronald Dale that we don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like too uncommon a name.
Ronald. We have a Ron.
That's true.
We do. I don't think it's this word. No, nothing in the pedigree to suggest.
No Charlie Bucket.
Nah.
Right.
Are you a James and the Giant Peach fan?
Had it read to me in 2nd grade, and that's all I remember. So
The movie's creepy.
I'm sure.
You haven't seen it?
No, but I mean, thinking of the Wonka adaptations,
Right.
just that kind of. All right, in the gate.
If
Drady, 5-3 box. At these prices,
I've never been on the turf.
I don't know about 5, but I would say at these prices, I'm going to put the 8 on top. But
Yeah, I would say based on what I've seen.
purely a tout, not betting.
Neither am I, but if I was going to play the pick 6, I would just go ahead and single the 3 now from what I've seen on track.
Ah.
Yep.
And you'd say, oh, you talked to open race, blah, blah, blah. Now even money and you're taking the chalk. But to me, that's the spot. I mean, I think so many people
Well, if I
are
hated
not
what I
singling
saw from
here.
her, I wouldn't. It's
Right.
not really about
No,
the price to me. I think it's kind of just
and for a pick 6, I think you're taking a stand in a race where many aren't.
I was going to be taking the chalk in here anyway. Now I say she didn't break that well. But I was going to be taking a chalk in here anyway because I would have been singling the 2. So it's just a different one.
Right. Oh, broke last.
Yeah.
Well, you were right about the 1A on the lead. Remember you said that?
It's nice to be right about something. Now, I envision a future of horse racing where you can make wagers based on those kinds of ideas. Because if you could, I would be a millionaire.
Yeah.
Of like what is
I
going
mean,
to happen.
in other countries, it's for sure is
Yeah.
wagers people make.
The 3's making a bit of a run. She's going to have to go pretty wide. Extremely wide. She definitely did not have to go that wide. Big events out there.
No, good.
Well, 1A seems like she's going all the way.
Yeah. Ignis would have won, though.
Ignis would have definitely won. We'll never know.
We'll never know.
No.
Let's see.
1A.
Ended up 5-2, which wasn't bad
Not bad
based
for
on
an
what we
entry.
ended up seeing.
Yeah. Well, just went to the front. Didn't
Broberg.
look back. Carl Broberg. So
The bro.
I wonder if the speed for the turf sprints is going to be an angle that holds up going forward, or if it's just a one-off, or what that might look like. So interesting. Interesting that both parts of the entry are grays too.
How about that?
I feel like you don't see that often.
Well, our time has come.
Wow, it goes by so quickly.
I know. Thank you, everyone, for being with us and liking. I think we had
Subscribing.
and subscribing. Yeah, 39 likes. I think that's a
I think
record.
that's a new record. Good for
Pretty
us.
steady viewership throughout. So
Mhm.
really appreciate that. And now that we can pump in the chat, I mean, you talk
Whole
about a
new
game
level of
changer.
playing field, yeah. Now we're getting more and more professional as the week goes on. I made a reel that advertised for us this morning with a replay
Yeah.
of Amazonian Queen, who was a flop, but Texas Thunder won. She was in
But it
that
had a good
race.
soundtrack.
It did. Did you notice the little video on the side too? That
Oh,
yeah.
What'd you use to edit all that? All in reels?
All in reels.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
make it easy.
Yeah, they really do.
Well, that's it for us. Back next week. Nick, Stakes.
Yeah. You're
Pegasus.
leaving. Pegasus to talk about. Big stuff happening next
Love it.
week.
All right. Well, really appreciate everyone joining us and can't wait to do it again next week.
Absolutely.